Shane Van Gisbergen takes his number 88 right down on the bottom white line.
You know, each year when we come here, the track gets a little bit more worn, handling matters more, so it's like, how do you find the balance?
Today on the Performance Racing Network, it's qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix from Circuit of the Americas.
Good morning and welcome to Texas Hill Country Cup Series qualifying here at Circuit of the Americas for the Duramax Grand Prix. My name is Brad Gilley alongside my broadcast partner Nick Yeoman. Today we have four very capable turn announcers covering the lap-by-lap action for qualifying and for practice here at COTA. Heather DeBow is also joining us on pit road. We'll let you hear from some of the drivers that are out on the track and as they come back in and find out what's going on with that. As we start this broadcast, Cup cars are exiting pit road, and they're climbing up the hill here at COTA. They're going to make essentially a warm-up lap, and then they'll actually hit a timing line and go out there and make practice laps before they qualify in a 20-minute session coming up about an hour from now. Nick Yeoman, what an amazing day to be here in the capital city of Texas.
Yeah, really excited for this weekend, Brad. First opportunity for the drivers not only in the Cup Series, but in the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series to turn left and right. This is the 6th year that NASCAR has come to Circuit of the Americas just outside of Austin, Texas. And, boy, year in, year out, this place has produced some pretty spectacular racing. 5 finishes in the Cup Series, winning margins, all under a second and a half. And, of course, last year, a big change with the course being shortened to just, 18 or 17 turns, we should say, taking off that back straightaway. And I know a lot of drivers approached it with a little bit of trepidation. How much passing there would there be? Ended up being a fantastic race that Christopher Bell won. So, yeah, I think we're fired up to come to Austin, Texas. Excited to see who can get up to speed quickly here in this practice session, and then ultimately, of course, qualifying here in about an hour.
And I love the fact that we cut this down from a 3.4-mile circuit to a 2.4-mile circuit. Shane Van Gisbergen probably describes it best and says we get to play in the fun part of the racetrack more often. We get more laps, more times in front of the grandstands. Well, I mentioned we have 4 turn announcers that are going to be covering everything. We have Andrew Curlin, Doug Turnbull, Kyle Rickey, who you normally hear on the Motor Racing Network, and Pat Patterson. Pat will join us here shortly as he is just actually getting off his duties on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. But as the cars are getting up to speed and making their laps, let's let you hear a description of what this circuit actually looks like. When they go past the view of Nick Yeoman and myself, they'll cross the start-finish line before they make a nice, steep climb uphill. That's where they head over to Turn 1, and with all of his sunscreen, his bucket hat, his fishing shirt, and everything that will keep him from getting a sunburn today, that's where they get into the view of Andrew Curlin.
That's exactly right, Brad. You described it as a nice, view up the hill. It's 134 feet of elevation gain up into the hairpin that makes up turn number 1. That's 13 stories tall. When you get to the top of the hill, it's a sharp left-hand corner where then you work your way back down the hill and use gravity to your advantage as you make your way towards turn number 2. It's a sweeping right-hander, 60 degrees, a lot of speed that you carry into the S's, into the view of Doug Turnbull.
And that is a lot of fun. This section will be talked about quite a bit here, Andrew, as the tire packs are installed once again to help better enforce even track limits through this area. Why do we say track limits? Because when these drivers go through the S's, they want to get their cars as close to the apex, or really over the apex, or the tight part of these turns as they can. So they start turn 3 kind of bending to the right, and these S's that are shaped like the S's at the Interlagos track in Brazil, named after Senna, the Senna S's. So it goes turn 3, goes to the left, still going downhill, probably in second gear. They bend it to the right. There's a tire pack at the apex of that turn, and then to the left again at turn number 5. Then the track straightens out just a little bit for a little bit of a bend here at the beginning of turn 6, and then the new portion that was added last year, that cut through turn 6A, it is a hard, acute angle to the left, a big elbow, and then the cars throw themselves on the exit of that right next to a wall and down a little short chute into the next set of turns and into the view of Kyle Rickey.
Yeah, things get busy down here at this end of the racetrack. It's called the stadium section, and it's at the end of the back straightaway, which is considerably shorter than it was 2 years ago by about a third. Relatively short back stretch, and then it's hard on the brakes and downshifting into a very sharp left-hander. That is turn number 12. Another quick straightaway. 2 right-hand turns, turns 13 and 14. Bit of runoff room to drivers left if they overshoot it. Turn 15, following another short straightaway. That's a left-hander, followed by another right-hander that wraps around the tower that I'm positioned on here this weekend. 251 feet above this Circuit of the Americas road course. It's a great view and a lot of opportunity here at this stadium section for drivers to make mistakes. So far, so good early in this practice session. As I say that, a couple of cars come together, including Austin Cindric. Everybody's okay. They continue on, but it's going to be a great morning to watch these teams practice and get ready to go for tomorrow morning. Once by my position, it's back toward the front part of the course. That's where Pat Patterson will pick them up shortly, and ultimately onto the front straightaway and back to the broadcast booth.
Thank you very much, Kyle Rickey, Doug Turnbull, and Andrew Curlin. As the cars make their way around the circuit, we can tell you Michael McDowell has the fastest lap so far, followed by Connor Zilich, Kyle Busch, Alex Bowman, Cole Custer. This is Group 1. The field is split into 2 groups based on the metric from NASCAR. The qualifying metric is 70% of your last race finish, 30% of car owner points, and they basically line them up to the best score to the worst score. We're at the back half of this for this first 25-minute practice session. We also have one very capable Napa Auto Parts pit reporter covering things for us here today. Heather DeBow, what's happening down in the garage?
Well, thank you, Brad. It's great to be here at Circuit of the Americas, and what an incredible description of this circuit by our turn announcers. And I've been listening to the team communications out on the radio with this Group 1 practice so far, and a lot of teams are talking with their spotters, especially telling the drivers where they can see them. Now, most teams are using 3 spotters here on this circuit. So that number 1 spotter that's in turn 1, he's going to be covering the front stretch. Also, he will look across, interestingly enough, to where the tower section is, which is turn 16, 17, and 18. And then the second spotter for these teams will pick them up in the S's, turn 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way through 12 and 13 and 14 in that stadium section where Kyle Rickey is at. And then spotter 3 will cover them for the rest of the circuit. But this is the first time that these spotters have been in these positions here today. And so they've been relaying to their teams, their crew chiefs, the other spotters, and their driver where they're going to see them and where they're going to pick them up. So it's been interesting listening to them kind of figure that out on the fly here.
Appreciate that, Heather. Really good intel. It's going to be a coordinated effort for those spotters. They get to, try out being radio broadcasters for once, right? Tossing it around to each other, but certainly so important to have not 1, not 2, but for some of these teams, a third set of eyes here on this massive racetrack to make sure that these drivers are safely getting around it. And we just got a second look, Brad, a minute ago of the contact between Austin Cindric and Ty Gibbs. That was down in turn 15. You heard Kyle Rickey describe it. Gibbs left the door open. Cindric filled it, and they made a little minor contact. Both those cars appear to be okay, but a lot of places on this racetrack, not only where you can get side by side, but trade a little paint. And as Heather pointed out, having those 3 spotters on this racetrack really going to be helpful for all these drivers in the field.
Loving the trading of paint. Now, I mentioned the qualifying metric. The field split up into 2 groups. This is actually Group 1. And with the qualifying metric being 70% of your previous race finish, 30% of the car owner points, we're only 2 races into the season. We just came off of Daytona and Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta. Some of the cars in Group 1, typically you might not see them there. Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, a former winner here, Austin Cindric, Alex Bowman, who has a 5.3 average finish here at Circuit of the Americas over the last 3 years, defending winner Christopher Bell, William Byron, who's won here before, Michael McDowell. There are a lot of good drivers here in this Group 1 session, Nick, and so far Michael McDowell leads the way, followed by Connor Zilich. Todd Gilliland is up to third quick now, Kyle Busch and Alex Bowman. Track is quiet in front of us. We are actually here on the main straightaway. Pit road is actually underneath where Nick and I sit right now. Alex Bowman now is taking his Ally Chevrolet off of turn 20. He's going to come back across the start-finish line. He'll go underneath and across the start-finish line and head up the hill to Andrew.
Alex Bowman, one driver who's never finished outside of the top 10 here at COTA. Hard underbraking, makes a hard left-hand corner in turn number 1. Now he'll go down the hill a little bit loose as he got up at the top of the hill. He makes a sweeping right-hand corner in turn number 2 under the bridge and into the view of Doug Turnbull.
Bowman here was the first one out for practice, first one up to speed, and stays on this track as he goes right through the S's and keeps a couple of ditches at either driver's side door through those tire packs. Doesn't go super aggressive there as he downshifts into first gear, wiggles a little bit through turn 6A, and then is back on the accelerator.
Makes his way off of 6B and onto the back straightaway. A 3-second run into turn number 12. A tight left-hander will downshift into the corner, right up on the curbing, onto a short straightaway. All by himself right now on the racetrack. It's a couple of seconds to his closest driver, Christopher Bell, several car lengths behind him, through the double right-hand turns of turn 13 and 14, and now into the left-hand turn of turn 15, heading right toward me here in the tower. Swings it off to driver's left, onto the red and white curving, and onto the long sweeping corner, back around to the front stretch for Alex Bowman.
Yeah, those double apexes around the carousel, 16, 17, 18. You'll hear Pat Patterson call that later today. Now Alex Bowman sets up for the left-hander of turn number 19. Two squared off left-hand 90-degree corners to finish out a lap here at Circuit of the Americas. Bowman heading towards turn number 20. We talked about it. He's had some great runs. Doesn't have the win here yet, Brad Gilly, but the average finish for Alex Bowman has been mighty impressive. 5.2 over 5 races. He's got a really good feel for this racetrack.
He really does have an amazing feel for this racetrack, and every time we come here, he almost won this race a few years back, and that's when Ross Chastain picked up his first victory. What an amazing final lap of that race. Ross Chastain was leading, coming into the stadium section. A.J. Allmendinger moves Chastain out of the way. He gets around him. Chastain regroups. While all of this is happening, here comes Alex Bowman. He actually comes and takes the lead from both of them. And we're going into turn 19, the second to the final corner. Chastain says, I need my pound of flesh back from you, A.J. Allmendinger, so I'm going to move you. He just happened to move him into a very innocent Alex Bowman. Chastain took the lead, drove off to victory lane for his first career victory at Texas, and a very thrilling one for sure. And in that time, we've seen several drivers do pretty amazing things here at Circuit of the Americas. I mentioned William Byron won. Christopher Bell, last year's winner, is another driver who has just simply been fast about every time we've been here. And the guy with the best average record when it comes to road courses in the next-gen car, 40 top 10 finishes, is a Texan himself in Chris Buescher, and we're going to see Chris Buescher out on the track coming up here in just a little bit. He is in group number 2.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, I think that's part of the racetrack, the stadium portion that is just going to get more and more popular for these drivers. Every year you come back, that part of the racetrack stays the same. And while it's impressive to see these drivers open up these cars and really roar through the gearboxes and pick up the RPMs and show off the impressive speed, it is a lot of fun, Brad, to watch them navigate those technical part of the racetracks where in closing race situations, like that year that Ross Chastain won, these guys can really lean on each other.
We've got practice happening now for the NASCAR Cup Series and the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. Halfway through group number 1, we'll continue our coverage right after this.
Whether your engine runs daily or only when you need it, Z-Max Micro Lubricant is the force you need against carbon buildup that can damage your engine. Combustion causes carbon and other harmful deposits to build up in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. And carbon is like sandpaper, rubbing against your engine's internal parts. You don't want that. You want Z-Max Micro Lubricant. It soaks into metal and keeps your vehicle running at peak performance. Find out more at zmax.com or visit us on Facebook and X. Protect your engine to the max with Z-Max.
Hi, this is PRN's Andrew Curlin. Weekends are the time to get stuff done. And when you're on the go, make sure you take advantage of the PRN mobile app. You can catch myself from the pits or the turns covering the action alongside our incredibly talented PRN crew. So you can listen to us from anywhere, at home, on the road, or even at the racetrack. Get the latest racing information at your fingertips by downloading the PRN mobile app today. Available in the Apple App Store or on Google Play.
For over 3 decades, Racing Electronics has been the #1 choice for scanners, headsets, and race day communication. Racing Electronics delivers the ultimate fan experience to the ultimate NASCAR fan. Hear uncensored communication from every team in the race with the Racing Electronics scanner, or you can tune in to the live PRN radio broadcast and feel every moment as it happens. Learn more at racingelectronics.com. Be race ready, be RE equipped. From Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
After a devastating storm that brings down trees and homes, so many families have nowhere to turn. That's why Samaritan's Purse responds immediately after hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, and fires all across the country. Our volunteer teams bring tools and compassion to homeowners who have lost not only possessions, but more importantly, hope. You can help. Join with Samaritan's Purse. Log on to SamaritansPurse.org.
Welcome to PRN's At the Track. I'm Lenny Baticki. We are PRN's half-hour weekly show dedicated to the short track, dirt track, legends, and kart racing across the Southeast. We provide our audience with the news and insightful conversations with the newsmakers from grassroots racing. How did that help you this time to take this victory from a grassroots perspective?
I definitely felt like Martinsville was a lot harder than the other one.
That's PRN's At the Track.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here on the Performance Racing Network. Working our way through practice group number 1. Let's go to pit lane. Check in once again with Heather DeBow.
And in listening to the radio communication with Christopher Bell, our defending race winner here at the Circuit of Americas, he was telling his team he is free everywhere, even through the slow stuff. So they brought that number 20 down to pit road to make some adjustments to tighten him up. He's currently in that 15th position, so a little bit of work to do here for the 20 car in his first group practice.
Yeah, right now, Brad, 15th out of the 19 cars for the defending winner of this race, Christopher Bell. So certainly seems like they've got a little work to do, as Heather touched on. Right now, about a full second off of the fast lap that Michael McDowell turned at a minute 39 flat. And, again, Christopher Bell down at a minute 40.059. So that's the good news about having this practice session. The turnaround time's not very long, so whatever they're going to find, they better find in a hurry. But Christopher Bell put on quite a show winning this race a year ago, and certainly if he's going to defend, they're going to need to find a little speed and make some adjustments. And as Heather touched on, a little stability, it sounds like, underneath that Toyota for Christopher Bell.
Let's pick up our defending winner, Doug Turnbull. He's headed your way.
And coming down the S's right now, Christopher Bell, after that adjustment, is really slinging that Toyota Camry through turns 4 and 5 there. He just made that left-hand turn, another right-hand turn, and now it's on the brakes and downshifting into turn 6A as he curls around it with ease and back to the gas.
There comes Christopher Bell now through 6B and onto the back straightaway again. All by himself on the racetrack, not really catching anybody ahead of him, and has about 20 cars or so back to some of the teams that are just behind him into the hard left-hander of turn number 12 goes Christopher Bell. Now into the double apex right-handers, turn 13 and 14 for Bell, hugging that candy cane curbing to the driver's right. And now that'll set him up for the left-hander, turn number 15 for Bell. Gets a great run, good acceleration onto a short straightaway and into the long sweeper in turn 16 for Christopher Bell.
Let's go down to Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeBow.
And here now with Brad Keselowski, who's still recovering from that broken leg injury. But you posted on X yesterday that you had good simulator times, you had x-rays, and we're all in the good. You're planning on driving in this race. You, in fact, quoted that song, Cake. He's going the distance. He's going for speed. So how are you feeling as we get ready to put you out in this practice session?
I mean, I feel really good, as you can feel with, having a broken leg. But, I've been working really hard, Heather, to be, ready for this race. And, I feel like that's paid off with putting the work in, whether that be in the gym or, go-karting or simulators and you name it. But, now it's time to go prove it.
Now, you do have road course ace Joey Hand on standby. You and him were talking here. What were you guys talking about, and was he giving you some advice?
Yeah, I mean, Joey's such a pro. We're so lucky to have him as part of the Ford camp, and he has a lot of great insights from his years of success in road racing, and just a terrific guy to have here.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Brett. Have fun out there during this next practice session. He's going to keep watching Group 1 right now.
Thank you very much, Heather. William Byron, a former winner, is headed up the hill toward Andrew Curlin.
He absolutely is. William Byron going from 5th down to first gear in a tight and tricky turn number 1. He'll go over the rumble strips, set himself up for turn number 2. It's a sweeping right-hander for William Byron. Good speed all alone right now for driver 24 as he heads into the S's.
All alone's where you want to be in practice so you can really push the car and not have anybody breathing you down. As he's down the hill, William Byron is out of turn 5. And then it's the right-hander coming up to the approach to turn 6A, down to first gear, no tire spin, and William Byron's going to get into the short shoot towards 6B.
Takes that C4 Energy Chevrolet off of turn 6B and now on to the back straightaway for Byron. Down in the first gear he goes. That hard left-hander, that is turn 12. Now onto a short straightaway as he swings out to driver's right, setting up for the double right-handers, turn 13 and 14 for Byron. Little out of shape there off of turn 13, but he's okay. May have lost a little bit of ground on his lap time. And now again, turn number 16, heading toward turn 15, the hard left-hander. Now into turn 16 for William Byron and racing into the view of Pat Patterson.
And he works his way inside, now letting the car drift back to the outside. 16 and 17 kind of off camera and running straight downhill. He'll let the car veer out to the right, make that hard left-hand corner into turns at number 19. Now powers down, lets the car drift out as wide as he can. Sets up for turn number 20, goes to the inside. Here comes William Byron back to the stripe.
Heads to the start-finish line right now. William Byron, 10th fastest right now. Let's run you down the 19 drivers here with just under 5 minutes to go in group number 1. It is still Michael McDowell at the top of the charts. That has not changed. Set that quick lap at a minute 39.023 early in this session. Connor Zilic is second in a Chevrolet. Then it's Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland, and Kyle Busch. Alex Bowman, sixth fastest right now. Cole Custer is 7th. Jesse Love making a Cup Series start this weekend. He's doing double duty. He'll race in the NASCAR Riley Auto Parts Series race later today. He is 8th quick. Then it's Austin Cindric. And then, as I mentioned, William Byron, 10th fastest right now, the 19 cars.
John Hunter Nemechek is 11th quick, followed by Josh Berry. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., 13th. Eric Jones is 14th. Christopher Bell, our defending winner, the man who chased down Kyle Busch last year on fresher tires and went to victory lane, 15th quick overall after 9 complete laps here in practice. Austin Dillon is 16th. 17th is Riley Herbst. Ty Gibbs, another strong road racer. Surprising to see him down in 18th in practice. Cody Ware sits 19th. This is a 25-minute practice session. They're qualifying today when they go out, coming up here in about 40 minutes or so. For qualifying, they get a 20-minute session. They have any time within that 20 minutes to make as many laps as they want. Of course, with tire wear here at Circuit of the Americas, Nick, plus the addition of about 80 more horsepower with the short track and road course package here, those tires are going to wear pretty quick. If you don't get it on your first lap, you better hope for a miracle on your second or even more on your third.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, the conditions are going to rapidly change throughout the course of the weekend, right? I mean, it's about as cool as you're going to see right now for practice. It's going to get warmer here in about an hour for qualifying. And then when we go racing, when you really have to manage those tires, that's going to be in the heat of the day on Sunday. So that's going to be fascinating. I know drivers have some mixed feelings. I've heard about the added horsepower, but certainly you add a little more horsepower, the tire wear goes up. A lot of people pointing to Shane Van Gisbergen, who historically has been one of the best we've ever seen in terms of managing those tires. That's the game these guys are going to have to play all weekend long, Brad, and I think it's going to be pretty fascinating.
Connor Zilic back out on the track, Doug Turnbull.
He's coming through the S's right now. The one that everybody, or one of two that everybody are really going to watch here as he's through turn 6 and then down the hill towards 6A. He's going to get hard on the brakes there, but no tire spin as he looks really smooth in that Red Bull Chevy.
Here comes Connor Zilic out of turn number 6B and onto that short back straightaway. Swings it out to driver's right. That Red Bull entry under braking now into the hard left-hander of turn number 12 for Connor Zilic. Again, swings it out wide, up and over that red and white curbing that aligns the turns here at Circuit of the Americas. Through the double right-handers, turn 13 and 14 for Zilich. Short straightaway, that'll set him up for the left-hander at turn 15. A first gear left-hand turn. Now up through the gearbox onto the short straightaway into turn number 16. That right-hander for Connor Zilich.
Zilich now moves his car out to the inside, I should say, of turn number 17. 18 now works his way down the hill. Will veer out to the right, take the paint a little bit for grip there, dodges the tire pack into 19, lets the car swing wide out to get set up for turn number 20. Now drives it back in hard to the left-hand side of the corner, lets it drift back out. Here comes Zilich back to the stripe.
Let's go back down to our Napa Auto Parts pit reporter, Heather DeBow.
And just to get some feedback from Connor Zilich in the 88, he told his team he's really tight in low-speed corners, loose in the high-speed corners, and needed some lateral grip. They also said he was losing time off of turn 2, but as we saw him cut that corner there, I checked in with Randall Burnett just to make sure they felt good about the car. He said everything looks fine, but we did make some rear adjustment to help him with those handling issues.
Appreciate that, Heather. Kyle Larson with just a minute to go here in this final practice session. He's only turned 6 laps, but Andrew Curlin, he's been quick. Third fastest as Larson heads up the hill to turn 1.
Kyle Larson has speed. He's going to scale that 130-foot hill that makes up turn number 1. Left side tires on the rumble strip. Now he gets his right side tires up and over those candy cane rumble strips as he heads towards turn number 2. Solid speed for Kyle Larson in practice number 1 right now.
And yeah, he's been one of the drivers not run as many laps, but here he is getting his bearings down through turn 4 and 5. Quick sweeping run through the S's there as he's now getting off of the gas and onto the brakes out of turn 6, and he gets into 6A just fine. Swings out next to the wall, back to the gas again for driver 5.
Been very smooth at the stadium section over the last several laps in that blue and white HendrickCars.com Chevrolet, and here he comes again to the end of the back straightaway, downshifting into first gear does Kyle Larson into the left-hander of turn number 12. That'll set him up for the double rights of turn 13 and 14, and again swings it up wide, keeps the speed up onto a short straightaway. That sets him up for the left-hander. Turn number 15 for Kyle Larson. Again, all by himself on the racetrack, up and over some of that curbing, and now up through the gearbox into the right-hander of turn 16 for Kyle Larson.
Driver's forced to kind of pedal the car right here. He wants to go downhill and at the same time trying to get to the gas as he works his way through 16 and 17 down into turn number 19 now to the inside, right by the tire barrier, nice and smooth. Works again through the gearbox down, heads to turn number 20. Larson now will come to the pit road.
And that is because the black and red flags are out. That is the end of group number 1 practice here at Circuit of the Americas. Michael McDowell, Connor Zilich, Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland, Kyle Busch, your top 5. When we come back from Austin, Texas, group 2 practice happening here at COTA.
From fueling NASCAR champions on the track for over 20 years to innovating 94 octane, the highest octane on the market. Performance is what Sunoco does. All Sunoco fuel at the pump meets the same top-tier standards as the fuel used in NASCAR. From the track to your tank, you can trust Sunoco to help your vehicle perform at its peak.
Make your plans now to stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa when NASCAR returns to Las Vegas. They have great race ticket and room packages for you to choose from. The South Point also features a wide variety of excellent dining options at 11 different restaurants. Or you can enjoy the 16-screen movie complex and visit the 64-lane bowling center. Visit SouthPointCasino.com and make your reservations today. Stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa.
When the checkered flag drops, the night starts in fabulous Las Vegas. Come to the sports and entertainment capital of the world and see why it's the best place for racing fans on and off the track. Learn more at visitlasvegas.com. From Circuit of the Americas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
The 30th anniversary of the Kyle Petty Charity Ride.
It's hard to believe that. I can't believe I'm like 39 and we've been doing this 30 years. The idea came about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were riding motorcycles to California, and we had stopped and picked up a couple of guys in Oklahoma City, and then we picked up some people in Globe, Arizona, and we were riding in. It was late at night, and it's like, oh my God, this would be so cool. We'll get people to give us 10 cents a mile. We'll ride. We'll do a bike-a-thon. And I just threw it out in the garage area. Dick Brooks rode with us that first year. Robert Yates rode with us. Cindy Sissoms rode with us. Man, we had so many people. They read about it, and they called us up and said they wanted to go on a ride, and we were like, come on down. Had 10 Hall of Famers that have ridden with us through the years. It is like a traveling show for the NASCAR Hall of Fame to go across the country sometime, but it has been really good. We heard of a couple of different hospitals and a couple of different kids that were race fans, and we thought, hey, we'll just stop and make a donation to help their families pay their bills. And that's what we did. It's all for camp now. It's all for Victory Junction.
30th anniversary of the Kyle Petty Charity Ride.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas alongside Nick Yeoman. My name is Brad Gilley. Group 1 practice for the NASCAR Cup Series is over. Group number 2 will go out less than 10 minutes from now as they get set to qualify for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. One of our turn announcers is Andrew Curlin, who is covering things at one of the highest portions of the race circuit, at least. And Andrew, you and I spent a lot of time with drivers during the preseason in both January and February, and one of the repeated questions you had to many of them, what is Turn 1 like? Because you knew you were going to be covering it. So now for you, what is Turn 1 like for you? What is Turn 1 like, more importantly, for these drivers?
Well, Turn 1 in race conditions, it's the turn of opportunity, to put it nicely. The chaos corner, it's a corner where you can gain a lot of spots, but more importantly, lose a lot of spots. But as Heather DeBow reported, it's a low-speed corner. You go from 150 miles an hour all the way down to about 50. And there were drivers that were fighting multiple conditions on corner exit. She was reporting that Christopher Bell was loose on exit, and from my view, you could see the rear end of his race car swing out, and he had trouble on that corner entry in Turn 1. William Byron, the opposite thing. He went over the rumble strips and into the runoff because he was tight. So fighting conditions here in Turn number 1 is going to be key, especially in qualifying later today.
Thank you, Andrew. Let's go to pit lane to our Napa Auto Part pit reporter, Heather DeBow.
And we'll catch up with the fastest guy in that Group 1 practice, Michael McDowell. You ran 11 laps out there. I heard you say at one point that you needed some lateral grip, but everything else felt decent. Any other updates since that feedback for your team?
No, I mean, the Cat's Coffee Chevrolet unloaded close. You always want more grip. You always want more turn. You always want more drive. That's just part of what it is here on a road course. But we had good speed, good fall off, felt like the pace was there. You know, a lot's going to change, though, with this track, with it being cool out, our rubber going down. Now you got the second group. So the biggest thing is we're in the window. We're in the game. We just got to make good adjustments from here on forward and, get a good lap in qualifying. I think Group 1 is going to be a challenge in qualifying. We kind of know that. But just need a good starting spot and feel like we'll have a piece we can race with tomorrow.
You talked about the track changing, but let's talk about track limits and those tire barriers. Do you feel like those affected you at all, or did you think you were getting too close to them, or do you think there'll be an issue come race time?
Yeah, I loved it. I like knowing where my limits are. You don't want to hit those gigantic tire barriers, so I like having, the visual track limits rather than kind of guessing where you're at on the racetrack. It's very easy to miss it here, so I think it's good. You can see them. I spent a lap or two behind cars just to see if I could see around them, which I could, so yeah, I think it's good.
All right, well, thank you for your time. Good luck in qualifying. That's Michael McDowell, who had the fastest lap times here in that Group 1 session as we await Group 2 to roll out.
Thank you very much, Heather. And perfect timing. We were talking about track limits up here, Nick, and earlier we went down and talked to Elton Sawyer from NASCAR, one of the top officials, about just what the track limits are. In the past, they would enforce those by officiating. Basically, what track limits means, and it really is more prominent in the S's, the section in front of Doug Turnbull, they cannot put all 4 tires over the inside of a corner. Drivers want to do that. That's the faster way if they can straighten out the corner. If they do that, they have a track limits violation. If they have a track limits violation, there is a section in front of Kyle Rickey in turn 13 where they have to do a stop-and-go penalty. If it happens on the final lap of the race, they're given a 30-second penalty. Ask Shane Van Gisbergen last year in the O'Reilly Auto Parts race. But what NASCAR has done, instead of trying to have to officiate the track limits, they want to have boundaries on the racetrack to keep drivers from violating them. They have put tire packs in turns 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6A. That's in front of Doug Turnbull. They put another one in turn 14. That's in front of Kyle Rickey. They put another one on the inside of turn number 19. That's in front of Pat Patterson. Let's survey those turn announcers now and find out just how close they're getting to the edge. Doug Turnbull, you see the most tire packs out in front of you. What's it been looking like?
Fitting, I guess, that I'd be looking at all of this rubber here. Look, a lot of flat tires when I'm covering Atlanta traffic back home, okay? So the tire packs, for one thing, that really, to Michael McDowell's point he said a moment ago, that help the drivers is they have, they're triangular shaped, and they have a highlight or neon orange coloring there. So it's not meant to be a gotcha. I think it really is meant to be a help you to get through these turns and to stay legal, so to speak. So through turn 3, that's on the driver's left, and 4, it's on the right, and et cetera. They alternate through these turns. And, of course, that helps them stay on the track. And there's a bit of a penalty because if you hit them, you know that there's a chance you're going to have a stop and go a little bit later on. I've seen drivers get close, but I didn't see these packs move at all in these practice laps. But certainly I think when the pay window opens, so to speak, I think it could get a lot more dicey out here. We didn't see anybody, I don't think anyway, yesterday during O'Reilly practice get too badly involved with them either. So they got through them okay. What about in your section, Kyle Rickey?
Yeah, we just have one turn pack here at this section, and it's brand new here for this weekend. Was put into place late last night, and it's at the exit of turn number 14. That is off to driver's right. And so far, it's to keep the cars out of the grass, off to driver's right on the second of the right-hand turns, 13 and 14, on approach to a short straightaway for that left-hander of turn number 15. And so far, so good. Nobody's made contact with it. A couple of drivers have come close to nicking it, but no big contact thus far at this end here in front of the stadium section with the lone tire pack in turn number 14. How about in front of you, Pat Patterson?
Yeah, the only one that I'm looking at here is really down in turns 19. It's on the inside of the corner. And to be honest with you, I don't even really know why it's there. I guess just to keep them out of the grass when they're trying to make that left-hand corner there. But you really don't want to be too close to it because at that point, you really can't let the car flow out to the right, which there's a lot of room out there on the right side of the paint, on the right side of the red and white candy cane striping here to let your car go out that far. Now, they'll get close to it, maybe, 2 or 3 feet away from it. I spoke to a couple of the O'Reilly drivers that were practicing yesterday, and they said, yeah, foot and a half is kind of what you want to leave yourself. You could get forced in 2-car competition side by side to have some issues right there, but you really probably won't see many people get that messed up with it, so to speak, down here in turns number 19, because at that point you're flying downhill and you're really trying to get yourself set up so that you can make 19 and 20 as smooth as you possibly can. It'll be fun to watch them try to work around it this afternoon here as we have track limits, yes, here in turn number 19.
Appreciate that, Pat. Yeah, there's no doubt that fast portion of the racetrack, the turn 19, we don't expect that tire barrier to play into much of the action throughout the course of this weekend. But, boy, those ones through the S's are going to be interesting. Heard Connor Zilic say yesterday during the O'Reilly Auto Parts practice and qualifying saying, yeah, it's not difficult to get through those, but visually, certainly it's a challenge, and sometimes you're just closing your eyes and hoping everything goes well. Brad, certainly this racetrack shorter than it was in previous years, the first couple years that we showed up to Circuit of the Americas, now just 2.4 miles. But listeners are probably going to be a little confused. We're going to talk about turn 6, 6A, and 6B, and then immediately go to turn 12. Now, I know on paper that doesn't make a lick of sense as the engines fire here to start Group 2, but you've got a bit of an explanation for why you're going to hear that.
So for Circuit of the Americas, the same firemen and women who do an amazing job and paramedics of keeping this track safe for any series, whether it be NASCAR this weekend to MotoGP coming up here in a few weeks to Formula One, they have turn numbers ingrained in their head and sections that they're covering. So when NASCAR has to dispatch those safety workers, well, turn 12 today is the same as turn 12 on a 3.4-mile version of the circuit. Just because we bypass the tip of the spear, if you will, if you look at Circuit of the Americas on an overhead map, they decided not to change the turn numbers. We're not a 20-turn circuit here on the 2.4-mile layout. We're a 17-turn circuit. And the reason why we have 3 turns named Turn 6, Turn 6, Turn 6A, Turn 6B, is because that is the bypass section that cuts it short. So when NASCAR has to dispatch safety workers, Turn 12 today is Turn 12 for MotoGP, is Turn 12 for Formula One. It keeps that much easier. Let's go down to Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeVoe.
And making his 6th Cup start today is reigning NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion Jesse Love. But, Jesse, this is your first start on a road course in this car. So how did your practice session go, and was it what you expected?
I don't know. I didn't really have any expectations on what I was going to feel beforehand. So, I will say that it was as fun to drive as I thought it was going to be. I had a lot of fun out there, and the car drove really good, and I learned a lot about the tire fall off and got to run through a lot of different, tools out on the racetrack. So, I think we kind of have a good idea about where we're at and a little bit of work to do, but, just kind of the right amount. We're not off the deep end by any means. So I feel really good about it. The C4 Energy Camaro is really good, and I'm looking forward to go qualifying and kind of, resetting the slate clean.
Now, we talked about the expectations, but what's a realistic goal for you when in terms of finishes here in the Cup Series in the race on Sunday?
Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I feel like if I can just go execute things that I need to execute the best of my ability, I'll be really happy. Whether that means I run top 5 or whether that means I run 20th, I'm going to be happy. I feel like I developed as a driver throughout the weekend.
All right, that's Jesse Love, who, of course, is pulling double duty, and we'll see him in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race later this afternoon.
Shane Van Gisbergen pulling double duty as well. He is now coming up the hill toward Andrew Curlin.
Shane Van Gisbergen, one of the best to do it at a road course, but still looking for his first top 5 here. SVG makes the hard left-hand corner into turn 1, makes it look easy. Great corner exit as he now works his way into turn number 2. Right side tires on the rumble strips for Shane Van Gisbergen as he heads into the S's.
And settles into a rhythm on his first up-to-speed lap down the hill through turn 4, turn it to the right, then curl it to the left again before he goes up a little bit of a hill in turn 6, and then on the brakes there as he gets into turn 6A, crawls before hits that throttle again right up next to the wall of that short shoot towards 6B.
And there are several drivers lined up behind Shane Van Gisbergen, hoping to learn something perhaps during this practice session, including Ross Chastain and a couple of the other drivers lined up behind him, Brad Keselowski among them as well, as he makes his way through turn 12, now into the double right-handers of turn 13 and 14, closing in on that tire pack. Off to driver's right is Shane Van Gisbergen. Chastain staying right with him within a car length or 2 through the left-hander of turn number 15 for Shane Van Gisbergen as he comes up through the gearbox and heads around the tower into the right-hander of turn 16.
He'll start pedaling the car just a little bit here again, trying to fight the off-camber. Works his way to right alongside the rumble strips as he makes his way down into 19 now, sets up hard left-hand corner, lets the car veer way out the racetrack, wants to get as much arc as he can to set up for turn number 20. Here's the number 97 driver, gets it pointed now back towards the start.
Whole train of cars following Shane Van Gisbergen, learning a little bit. At the tail end of that train, it's a bright green car for Brad Keselowski with that surgically repaired leg. He's up the hill, Andrew, in turn 1.
Let's see how Brad Keselowski can do on a fast lap here in that bright green Ford. Keselowski slows it all the way down to 40 miles an hour. Left side tires over the rumble strips. Good corner exit for Brad Keselowski. He'll swing it out wide and now cut driver's right into turn number 2 under the bridge.
He's coming up under that bridge at turn number 3. It's a left-hand turn, then to the right for Brad Keselowski. Really doesn't slow down a whole lot in that section. You kind of stay medium speed, but then as he crests turn 6 and down the hill, it is on the brakes hard there in that Graza oil number 6 Ford.
A couple of car lengths behind his teammate, Chris Buescher, who is beginning to tiptoe away up the back straightaway from Brad Keselowski. Shane Van Gisbergen continues to lead this pack of 4. Ross Chastain just behind Van Gisbergen as they make their way through 13 and 14. Then it's Buescher, and then it's Brad Keselowski. He's really putting that leg to the test here this afternoon in this practice session. Qualifying coming up here in a little bit for Brad, who staying right with him, overdrives turn 15 just a bit, swings out to driver's left, gets the car back on the surface, and heads into turn 16.
That was a good way to put it, Kyle. Ricky, it definitely is a test for him this afternoon as he works the car down through the downhill area here, goes past what will be the finish line for their qualifying lap. Now it's Keselowski, works to the inside at 19, swings way out wide in that car, works down into turn number 20, pulls on the wheel, back to the left now, try to get it set up and get it pointed.
All right, as Brad Keselowski now comes across the front straightaway, we can tell you now where some of the drivers in Group 2 are running. And Nick Yeoman, a minute ago I was looking at it thinking, you pointed out something earlier. It was cooler for Group number 1. Now the Texas sun is out, starting to heat up the track, thinking it might slow down. As soon as I thought that, Ryan Blaney quickly jumped up to second quick behind Michael McDowell. Daniel Suarez in this group, he's 8th quick. Carson Hocevar is 10th quick. I'm impressed with what Blaney's been able to do. 2 laps and immediately jumps to P2. But Ryan Blaney has a feel for this racetrack. And certainly for the longer course in 2022, he was the pole sitter here at Circuit of the Americas. And right now, he's kind of leaning on Chase Briscoe there out of turn number 16. So Blaney in that Pennzoil Ford looking very fast. In fact, Pat Patterson, a little dueling between Blaney and Briscoe.
Yeah, they're having some fun. And Blaney right now is going to settle in behind Briscoe. Briscoe works his car out to the right. Blaney right in his tire tracks. Will take the same path through 19. Blaney gets underneath him now, gets under Briscoe, and he works his way into turn number 20. Ryan Blaney, very good and underrated on road courses for sure.
Yeah, Blaney said, I want to have some race practice here. Briscoe conceded the spot and said, maybe not. Well, let's see what Blaney can do as he heads up toward turn 1 and Andrew Curlin.
Ryan Blaney with clear track in front of him. He's going to try to put some distance between himself and Chase Briscoe. He'll do that on corner exit. Good speed for Ryan Blaney right now as he heads into turn number 2. It's a hard right-hand corner as he goes back up through the gearbox to Doug Turnbull.
Blaney and Briscoe, the Killer Bees here, both adept road racers, and they have to go down the hill. They want to be single file in these S's, but this is a section here as they crest 6A, or 6 and 6A, where you can make up or lose a lot of time. Looks smooth for both the driver of the 12 and of the 19 in the short chute.
The bright yellow and white Menards Pennzoil Ford for Ryan Blaney hits the back straightaway, and this time he's able to drive away by a couple of car lengths from Chase Briscoe. But last time through the stadium section, they were really racing each other for position on the racetrack side by side on a couple of different occasions. This time they're going to single out, put about 3 car lengths between each. Blaney leading that group. Briscoe just behind him as they head toward the left-hander of turn 15, and now up through the gearbox, closing in. They both are on Denny Hamlin, who lies just ahead in turn 16.
Yeah, Hamlin will spot him quite a few car lengths here going down the hill off of turn at number 17. Here's Blaney. Briscoe's kind of backed off of that chase with him. Here's Blaney, sets up for 19. Inside he goes, out now wide as he swings his car out to get set up for turn number 20. Briscoe about 15 car lengths behind him. Blaney gets it pointed and once again back towards the stripe.
5 fastest cars here in group number 2. Ryan Blaney, Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar, A.J. Allmendinger, and Chase Elliott. Right now they are all inside the top 13. We did not mention Joey Logano. He's headed up the hill trying to look for some speed, Andrew. He's 34th fastest overall.
Joey Logano looking to make some ground up. That's the thing. Turn 1 can be so tricky, and if you lose time anywhere, it becomes a problem. He overshoots turn 1 just a little bit as he now works his way towards turn number 2. It's a sweeping right-hander. Joey Logano through the S's now.
Seems like he got a little wide out of turn 2, so he's trying to regroup here as he comes down the hill through the S's. Looks okay, hits those corners with as much of the track as he can take, a little conservatively through turn 6, and then he's down to first gear, out of the gas completely, on the brakes, and back to it as he approaches 6B.
And the Shell Pennzoil Ford off of 6B, and now on to the back straightaway for Joey Logano. He is all by himself on the racetrack. Talked about Ryan Blaney a couple laps ago, well ahead of Joey Logano, along with some of the other cars on the speedway, Denny Hamlin being among them. Logano into turn number 13 now, the double right-hander, turn 14 for Joey. Comes off driver's left, swings the car way out wide, and now good entry and a good exit off of turn 15 for Joey Logano. So making up some of that ground lost in turn 1 here on the back side of the course.
Here comes Logano going pointed downhill now in his Ford. Works to the inside of the corner over here in turn number 18. Back out wide, sets up for 19. Inside right by the tire barrier, works along the outside of this short stretch between turns number 19 and 20. Down on the gearbox as he works his way off of 20 now.
Thank you very much, Pat. Joey Logano, 34th on the speed chart. Heather DeBoe, can you give us an idea of what's happening with the 22?
Yeah, I've been listening to their communication with Joey. I haven't heard any feedback from him, but they were telling him that his exits are his biggest issue. They also just told him that he was losing time in turn 19. They said his S's are okay, and everything in the stadium section was better that lap than the lap before. So he is improving on some of those areas where he needs to correct.
Thank you very much, Heather. Michael McDowell still fastest overall from Group 1, followed by Ryan Blaney, who's second overall. Blaney actually has the best overall average, by the way. Connor Zilich is third overall, followed by Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland, the top 5 in Cup Series practice here at Circuit of the Americas.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive, and I'm here to tell you why you should shop Echo Park before you buy a car, truck, or SUV. Over half of inventory at Echo Park is priced below $25,000, and car for car, truck for truck. Echo Park Automotive's pricing is $3,000 less than the competition. Maybe that's why Echo Park has over 100,000 five-star reviews. Echo Park Automotive is built to make sure you drive away happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner. The official used car retailer of Speedway Motorsports.
When NASCAR hits Dover Motor Speedway, get ready for all-star intensity at the Monster Mile. May 15th through 17th. See the sport's biggest names battle it out. It's more than a race. Concerts, autograph sessions, tailgates, and non-stop action all weekend long. Experience NASCAR the way it's meant to be, live and in person at Dover. Get your tickets now at DoverMotorspeedway.com. That's DoverMotorspeedway.com.
Introducing the RE4000 Bluetooth scanner from Racing Electronics. It's fast, lightweight, and with zero latency. The RE4000 keeps you locked into every pass, every pit stop, and every checkered flag. Plus, with automatic over-the-air programming at major events, setup is quick and effortless. Check it out at racingelectronics.com today. Practice rolls on from Circuit of the Americas. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
I'm PRN's Doug Turnbull, co-host of the 5 to Go podcast, a weekly deep dive into 5 motorsports issues. Devin Kupka gives the Gen Z view.
One thing that I've never seen before, when the cars got 4 wide, everybody stood up cheering.
And championship-winning mechanic Dan Elliott leans on his decades in the garage and promoting.
Unless everybody is aware of the rules, then no, it's not fair for everyone.
Listen to the 5 to Go podcast on GoPRN.com and subscribe on Apple and Spotify.
Mike Rowe on the student organization known as Skills USA.
Well, everybody talks about high unemployment. It seems to me that the real problem is the skills gap. There are opportunities available, millions of them. Skills USA is on the front line. They're encouraging soft skills, specific skills. They're the connective tissue in between the opportunities that exist and the hopes that a lot of parents and kids have for their own future.
Learn more at microworks.com and skillsusa.org.
Skills USA, champions at work.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas, or if you're hip and cool, Brad, you can always just call it COTA. They don't have a preference. Practice rolling on here for the NASCAR Cup Series. Still Michael McDowell, fastest driver overall. Ryan Blaney, the fastest here in Group Number 2. Connor Zilich, Kyle Larson, Todd Gilliland right out the top 5. Those final 3 drivers were all in Group 1. Second fastest driver here in Group 2 is Daniel Suarez, who's going to join us a little bit later today. In fact, if you want to catch live coverage of the Focus Health 250 here on the Performance Racing Network, coming your way at 2:30 Eastern Time. And, of course, we're getting you set for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix, powered by Relodyne at 2:30 Eastern on Sunday. Looking forward to it. Brad, been watching these drivers bend these cars left and right around this 2.4-mile circuit, with qualifying for the Cup Series just around the bend.
Want to bring up Daniel Suarez. As you mentioned, he'll be joining us for today's Focus Health 250. 8th quick right now. He drives for Spire Motorsports now in 2026. Moved over to that number 7 Chevrolet. Daniel Suarez, 8th quick. Teammate Carson Hocevar, 10th. And Michael McDowell is the fastest overall. This is a trend we're starting to see a lot this year. Of course, Spire Motorsports has been in the news for some other reasons, with Chris Gabehart leaving Joe Gibbs Racing and some controversy there coming over to Spire. But there's no denying the fact that from the Clash at Bowman Gray Stadium to the Daytona 500 to Echo Park Speedway and now Circuit of the Americas, those three Spire Chevrolets, the 7, the 71, and the 77, have been much faster this year.
And especially you get to this point of the season, Brad, once we leave the drafting tracks, now we start to find out who really has what. And certainly they are backing it up with the speeds. Michael McDowell was mighty impressive in that first practice session. In fact, I saw the two Spire cars kind of working together, the two that are in this group, Daniel Suarez and Carson Hocevar. They are heading through turns 19 and 20 as we speak. But Hocevar has been mighty impressive, looking in the top 10 in points. Daniel Suarez trying to get his season righted. It'll be Suarez, Hocevar, followed by Ryan Preece, a host of other cars heading up the hill to turn number 1.
Two Spire Chevrolets hard on the brake pedal as they head towards turn number 1, led by Daniel Suarez. Carson Hocevar in the nicknamed Intimidente car right behind him. Both get good corner exit. Hocevar just kind of watching Daniel Suarez go around this racetrack, but Suarez seems to gap him in turn number 2.
It gets well down the hill as they go to the left-hander at turn 3 to begin the S's. This section, you're not hard on the gas or the brake. It's all finesse with an eggshell under the pedals there. But then they get down to turn 6, and it's 6A rather. It's going to be hard on the brakes as Hocevar closes in, but Suarez gets on the gas first, leaving to 6B.
And is able to break away by a car length or two through turn 6B and onto the back straightaway. Daniel Suarez leading teammate Carson Hocevar, who outbrakes him just a bit into turn number 12, draws within a car length of Suarez, who now pulls away at the exit of the corner. Carson Hocevar doing a really nice job staying with one of the fastest drivers on the racetrack right now and his teammate Daniel Suarez. Hocevar right in his tire tracks through turns 13 and 14. Now the left-hander of turn 15. Here's Hocevar perhaps wanting to make a move on teammate Daniel Suarez as they head into turn number 16.
Hocevar's car looks like he can get back to the gas a little faster than Suarez there, watching them work their way down the hill into 19. Be fun to watch right here. He does get within about a half a car length as they work through 19 now over to 20. But it looks like that Hocevar's car maybe handles just a little bit better than Suarez.
Got a quick story for you, Nick. Andrew Curlin called Carson Hocevar's car the Intimidente. So last year we saw the Ride the Dente Chevrolet with Carson Hocevar and some of the Spire cars. Their driving suits literally look like they're dressed up in cowboy attire, from jeans and boots to all of that. They are completely fire-resistant Nomex fire suits. Last year, there were a couple of different cars. Michael McDowell and Carson Hocevar. Justin Haley was a part of that team last year. We came into our preseason production days, and Carson Hocevar walks in. He has a white-shirted fire suit. We were sitting there talking. This goes back to January a year ago, not just a couple of months ago. Carson Hocevar sitting there with his PR person because I was asking him about they have a cowboy hat that was set up with the markings and all of that. And he goes, I want a black hat. And they looked at him, and I thought this was the greatest thing. He's like, if the other guys have a white hat, I want a black hat. He didn't get that at all last year. Guess what he gets this year? A black car, a black fire suit, and a black hat. And he is wearing that thing proudly after the first couple of races of the year.
Yeah, he's wearing it in more ways than one, is what you're saying, because he left, Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta with quite a few fingers pointed his way, but clearly Carson Hocevar does not care. In fact, he's embracing that role, and as long as he keeps that car towards the front of the pack, I don't think the folks at Spire care either. I think they're happy with the way he's driving and mixing it up, and he's always in the headlines and certainly having some fun with it as well, with the marketing and certainly the fire suits.
Top two in the Cup Series point standings right now are 23-11 Racing. Tyler Reddick's won the first two races. Teammate Bubba Wallace right now is chasing him on the circuit in front of Doug Turnbull.
They're right through turn number 5 of the S's. Reddick followed Wallace out to begin this session and passed him a few laps ago, and they have stayed in about 2 car lengths separation separated formation as they get through 6A. This entire time, Wallace learning from Reddick, who's won here before.
They have been together since the start of this session several laps ago, and they're within 3 car lengths now. Tyler Reddick under braking into turn number 12. That sharp left-hander. Bubba Wallace 2 car lengths behind him as they set up for the double right to turn 13 and 14. Reddick right along on the bottom to the inside, swings it out wide, as does Wallace as they set up again for turn number 15. That's the left-hander, first gear corner. Reddick threw it first. Wallace cuts it a little bit tighter, and that'll cost him some ground on his teammate Tyler Reddick, who draws away in 16.
Bubba's doing everything he can to kind of hang with the 2 back-to-back winner here as he works his way down the hill, headed to turn number 19. Reddick quickly through the gearbox, hard into the corner over here in 19. Bubba about 8 to 10 car lengths behind him. Those 2 cars wind their way over to turn number 20. Back to the left he goes, gets it pointed, and they head back around for another lap.
We have 4 minutes, 24 seconds left in Group 2 practice. After that, all of the cars will re-rack, and we'll get ready for 2 20-minute qualifying sessions. The cars from Group 1 are parked on pit road, hands off right now. Once a group comes in from practice, NASCAR calls it 10-minute clock, says you have 10 minutes to make your adjustments, then hands off. When this group comes back onto pit road at the end of the session, Nick, they will go on a 10-minute clock before they go hands off, and we'll set Group 1 out for qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix.
Well, that just seems quite fair in my book. That's exactly how it should be done. Talk about some of the drivers who are struggling right now, some of the bigger names outside of the top 30. Brad Keselowski is 30th fastest right now. Denny Hamlin is struggling. He is 33rd quick. Joey Logano still not off of that 34th place lap so far. Let's go back to pit lane and check in with Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeVoe.
Yeah, and we're going to catch up now with Connor Zilic. And Connor, you were just talking to your crew chief, Randall Burnett. This is your 3rd race together. Do you guys feel like you're finding a rhythm? It looked like you guys were having a pretty good conversation about your plan coming up here in qualifying.
Yeah, I think we're making gains for sure. Our Red Bull Chevrolet is not quite where we want it to be. We were good there to fire off, but that first group had a lot of fall off compared to the second. So it's hard to really tell where we're at, but I think we'll be good for qualifying. Got to go put a lap down and see what we can do tomorrow.
Now, you've been watching this Group 2 practice, including your teammate Shane Van Gisbergen, and I think I saw a couple times your face looked a little surprised. I'm not sure if that was with where Blaney's running, but what do you think about the group that's out there now?
Yeah, Blaney's really quick. I feel like it's so hard to tell with this practice session. The track's changing so much over the 2 groups, and it's going to be a lot different tomorrow. So, I'm curious to see where it trends, but got to go put a lap down here in qualifying.
All right, Connor Zilic will be coming up next in that Group 1 qualifying session just in mere moments.
Thank you very much, Heather. I heard something great last week, Nick, that, some drivers have nicknames. Dale Earnhardt, of course, was the Intimidator, Richard Petty the King. Sometimes the fan base also has a great nickname. And I heard it referred to for Connor Zilic as the Zillbillies. And I'm here for it.
You have no idea how much I want that to catch on and become a thing. And if Connor Zilic starts winning races or contending to win races like we all kind of think he will in time during this rookie season, the Zillbilly Nation may be growing week to week.
Connor Zilic on the pole for today's O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Focus Tel 250. He'll be joined on the front row with his teammate, both at Trackhouse on the Cup side and Junior Motorsports on the O'Reilly side, Shane Van Gisbergen. We'll pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas practice.
smarter when making decisions. So we've had several of those relationships over the years and certainly continue to lean on those.
NASCAR Network Radio drives business.
Hey, Joey Logano here, the driver of the number 22 Hunt Brothers Pizza Ford Mustang. What can a 3-time champion do by the end of this ad? A pit stop and grabbing a hunk of pizza at the closest convenience store near you. To find a location, visit huntbrotherspizza.com.
By downloading the free PRN mobile app, you can listen to all of our live race broadcasts anywhere. You'll also have easy access to all of our award-winning studio shows. Get all the latest racing information at your fingertips with the PRN mobile app. When the checkered flag drops, the night starts in fabulous Las Vegas. Come to the sports and entertainment capital of the world and see why it's the best place for racing fans on and off the track. Learn more at visitlasvegas.com. From Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
I'm Andrew Kurland, along with David Stiles, here to give you the latest NASCAR news and opinions each weekday on PRN's Garage Pass. With Garage Pass, you won't miss a moment from green to checkered flag.
2 years ago, I didn't think I was going to have a job. I thought I was going back to Connecticut, and I'm just super emotional.
You'll hear everything from race recaps to feature stories, industry news, and chatter from around the garage. PRN's Garage Pass.
In addition to traditional summer camp, Victory Junction also hosts family weekends, partner programs, and day camps. And the Victory Junction Outreach Program takes camp fun beyond our gates to children at hospitals and partner sites throughout North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Victory Junction makes the impossible accessible.
This is a place that needs to be here 50 years from now, 100 years from now. We are never going to run out of kids that can benefit from Victory Junction.
Discover how you can get involved at victoryjunction.org.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas alongside Nick Yeoman. My name is Brad Gilley. We have Cup Series qualifying. Group 1 will go out for a 20-minute session. Group 2 will then go out for a 20-minute session. The combined lap times from the two groups will set the starting lineup for tomorrow's Duramax Grand Prix. After qualifying here, keep it tuned into these same great stations with the Performance Racing Network because the NASCAR Racing Network out in sunny Florida, St. Petersburg, Florida, for the inaugural NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series street race as a companion weekend with the IndyCar Series. That one's going to be exciting. Mike Bagley, Todd Gordon are going to be in the booth for that event with a great group of announcers combined from both the NASCAR Racing Network and the IndyCar Radio Network.
There are already a lot of question marks going into that race weekend because it's so new. The trucks have never raced there at St. Pete. And then in practice and qualifying yesterday, the rain rolled through, so I think a lot of those drivers got 2-3 laps of track time. So, yeah, you better tune in because that thing is going to be fascinating. Some cool names, guys like Dario Franchitti, James Hinchcliffe from the open wheel world, going to mix it up with some of the best truckers that we have. Chandler Smith, of course, won the opening season race at Daytona. You got Lane Riggs as well. So all the usual names, some celebrities popping in, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those drivers tackle St. Pete. Brad, as you pointed out, I've been with the IndyCar Radio Network for many, many years, and that is a fantastic place to kick off the season. So hope everybody enjoys checking out the trucks there in St. Pete. I think they're going to put on a really fun and interesting show.
I love that circuit. I love the festival atmosphere you have, and the layout of this street circuit. The main straightaway is actually an airport runway, and then the circuit does wind through the streets of St. Petersburg, goes right across the harbor there. If you've ever been jealous of people who have really big, nice yacht-type boats, you're going to see a lot of those in the background. And I have a feeling with walls on both sides of the racetrack throughout most of the circuit, Nick, we're probably going to see a lot of sheet metal bent up.
Yeah, of course, that rundown to turn number 1 at St. Petersburg, you've got the stripes painted down there, of course, to help the pilots navigate which runway they're supposed to land on. Those stripes can get a little slick, so that's going to be a part that they're going to have to navigate as well. But as you mentioned, tight confines, but the good news with those trucks, they've got fenders, so they can certainly lean on each other. Let's check in with Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeVoe.
And fastest in Group 2 practice was Ryan Blaney. Ryan, a lot of teams were not surprised, but they were impressed with your run out there. How was your race car? I didn't hear much feedback from you.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I thought it had really good speed.
and I thought I hung on pretty good. So, really good first practice, good first run for us. Proud of the effort. This wasn't our best racetrack last year, so we put a lot of work into trying to get better and how can we get better. And me, as a driver, how can I clean some stuff up? So it's nice when all that stuff works. Hopefully it continues on. Proud of the effort. And not a ton of complaints, but we're going to still work on a bunch of stuff, see what we can do.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on things that you specifically worked on as a driver, especially because you guys can do sim and other things, but what's something that you really focused on?
Yeah, I'm really not a great road course racer. I'd say I'm pretty average, and so it really takes a lot for me to figure out, okay, hey, where am I gaining time, where am I losing time? Like, is it under braking? Is it trying to downshift correctly to roll through the corner better? Is it setting yourself up for exit? Like, all those little things I think add up, at places like this. So honestly, it was a little bit of everything, like more efficient on the brakes, more efficient downshifts, taking the S's at a little bit different approach. So all of it kind of culminates into just a little bit of more overall pace. So I had to work on everything. I wasn't very good at anything, and I still say I'm not very good at everything, but it's nice to know we got a little improvement.
Well, I got something that'll boost your confidence a little bit. The 97 team told Shane Van Gisbergen you were better than him in the stadium section.
We'll see if they were lying to him or not. We'll find out.
All right, thanks.
All right, thank you very much, Heather. Let's go up to turn one, get an observation from Andrew Curlin, who's out in the sun.
One thing that's interesting, and Brad, you mentioned that, the sun, it is shining right in drivers' faces as they climb the hill and go into turn number one. We talked to drivers before the season started. They said one of the hard things about turn one is there's no clear visible braking markers. Now with the sun in your eye and already blinding you into a tough corner, that's going to be something to watch for qualifying as we get set to go here in just a few minutes.
We are just about 2 minutes away from cars rolling off the pit road for qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas.
Need a break? A break from the grind? The stress? We have just the place. A place where you can let your inner thrill-billy out. Bristol Motor Speedway, April 10th through the 12th for the NASCAR Food City 500 triple-header weekend. 3 days, 3 races, 2 night races, 1 epic weekend. Don't just take a break, race to it. Get your tickets, upgrades, and more now at BristolMotorspeedway.com. It's not just a race.
It's Bristol, baby!
From Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas, this is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hey, it's Charlie and Debbie, along with NASCAR legend Kyle Petty, inviting you to join us for Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown.
Each week, we'll put it in reverse and take a trip down memory lane, looking back at that week's top 20 country songs from years past.
We'll dive into what made those songs and artists move the needle, what pop culture trends made those years unique.
And you'll get to hear me tell stories only I can tell.
So don't miss Kyle Petty's Back Then Again Country Countdown right here each week.
Chase Elliott on his relationship with Napa.
It is fit for your 13th year together. They've been a great partner. I think as time goes on, those relationships get better if you're lucky enough to have a partner for that length of time, because they get to know you, you get to know them, we figure out what works for each other, and we can really start pulling the rope in the same direction. And I think that that's where our relationship has really thrived the most.
NASCAR Network Radio drives business.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas here on the Performance Racing Network, getting you set for qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix, powered by Relodyne. Brad Gilly, Nick Yeoman here inside the broadcast booth. Of course, these two groups split up evenly, so there'll be plenty of space on the racetrack here for qualifying. As we mentioned, Pat Patterson is out on the course, and Pat, now all of a sudden that pesky timing line comes into play, and it's right below your turn location.
Yeah, exactly, Nick. What happens is you come off of this kind of a off-camber downhill area after you get out from under the stadium area of the course. And, yes, there's a white line out here midway between 18 and 19, and that's where the lap will stop. For obvious reasons, you want to be able to get your car woed back up right there and make your way over to the pit road and not have to limp your way all the way around the racetrack. So I like this a lot, and you'll see the drivers hammer down, and you'll immediately see them get out of the throttle as soon as they get past this timing line over here. But, yes, that is where the actual time will be scored, and that's where your lap record will go in the books.
So this is just such a smart thing to do, Nick, because before we started utilizing the timing line, if you utilize the start-finish line, a driver would finish their lap and literally have to go around the entire circuit before coming back onto pit road. And I can tell you that at Sonoma Raceway, here in the early days of Circuit of the Americas, that would wreak havoc on people who are actually out there on a hot time qualifying lap.
Yeah, it probably wasn't fair of me to call it pesky. It certainly plays a part, and not only one, to get those drivers back to pit lane so you can make any quick adjustments, because timing is certainly so important for qualifying. But as you pointed out, when you've got drivers who are not on flyers, they're on cool-down laps, and they're out there in the way of drivers who are trying to trim those cars out for speed, you can have some hairy moments. You can have some drivers arguing over space. So, yeah, it makes so much sense. Move it right back to right before the entrance to pit lane. Get those drivers that complete qualifying laps off the racetrack, and then you're good to go to really free up the track. And certainly that track not going to be freed up anymore, Brad. Green flag is in the air. A lot of drivers leaving pit lane to get some heat in those engines and warm up those Goodyear tires as qualifying is just about to start here at Circuit of the Americas.
This is group number 1. This was effectively the fastest group in practice. The track was cooler for group 1 than what it was for group 2. Now that the sun is shining bright here in Texas, we expect the track to be pretty equal between the two groups. Michael McDowell was the fastest earlier today in group 1. Ryan Blaney actually second quick overall. He was in group number 2. After that, almost the balance of the entire top 10, with the exception of Daniel Suarez, came from group number 1. So we'll have to wait and see just how things even up here as we've got cars working their way around the racetrack. I see Connor Zilic, one of the front runners. Let's pick him up as he's getting ready to hit that timing line.
And he does hit that timing line, goes right down into turn number 19. Left-hand corner there, lets the car drift out just a bit now as he sets up for turn number 20. Zilic takes his Red Bull machine, makes that left-hand corner now, and now wants to get that thing pointed as fast as he can to climb up that hill.
Austin Dillon's going to trail him by about 8 car lengths. Do a little learning, Andrew Curlin, as they both head up the hill to turn 1.
Both under heavy braking as they head into turn number 1. This is a key portion of this qualifying lap. Zilic misses the left side tires on the apex at turn number 1. He'll swing out.
Turn at number 20. Here comes Zilic back around to turn number 20 down through the gearbox. Again, gets it pointed, and he'll go around here for another time.
Connor Zilic will try and make a second lap, and I think we saw that earlier in practice on fresh Goodyear tires. Lap number 2 is the quickest. Kyle Busch is off the circuit right now. Pat, it looked like he had a little run through the gravel.
Yeah, Kyle Busch had himself a little bit of an incident there. It seems like he got it turned back around and is pointed in the right direction.
So Busch will come on to pit road right now. The fastest car here last year. Kyle Busch was leading this race in the closing laps. Christopher Bell had 2 lap fresher tires. That's how much of a difference it made. Kyle Busch ended up really wearing out the tires and finishing 5th, but he had a lot of speed here. He's really good. What do you see on the replay, Nick?
Well, they may want to check the undertray of that car because he got a little bit of air. He was carrying so much speed through the carousel of 16, 17, and 18. That car swung really wide to the left, went over some of the painted portion of the racetrack, racetrack, bounced and maybe even got a little airborne. And then once the tires are off the racetrack, Brad, you can't get it slowed down. That's why he took into the gravel of turn number 19. That was a wild ride for Kyle Busch.
Let's pick up Austin Cindric. He's now starting his descent down through turn number 2 and back into the view of Doug Turnbull.
He's coming down the hill right now. There's a slower car getting up to speed that's going to pull out of his way as Cindric zooms past him. Then it's the sweeping left-hander at turn 3, through turn 4, almost gets it straight through turn number 5, and then it's up and down the hill through turn 6 before he slows down to make that left-hander at speed at 6A. Does so very smoothly and swipes up right next to the wall, but stays off of it.
That slower car that Doug mentioned was Cole Custer a moment ago as he looks to come to speed as we follow Austin Cindric up the back straightaway, under braking and down into first gear he goes into the hard left-hand turn for the Discount Tire Ford. Into second gear now and into the double right-handers, turn 13 and 14 for Cindric. No pressure around him on the track right now. Their closest car to him, Austin Dillon, just about 15 or 20 car lengths in front through that final left-hand turn. Turn 15 for Cindric as he makes his way to turn 16 and back to the timing line in front of Pat.
And he uses the paint as best he can through 17, now over to 18. Once again, hugs the inside corner, lets the car veer way out to the outside as he works down into 19. Down is hard to the left, goes back through the gearbox. He'll head to the pit road now. That's Austin Cindric.
So far, Connor Zilic is the fastest. He is the pole sitter for today's Focused Health 250. PRN will be on the air 2:30 Eastern time for that. Todd Gilliland being shown second quick, followed by Austin Cindric. Kyle Busch actually did get a timed lap. He is fourth quick. Jesse Love now moves up to the top of the chart. How about that, Nick Yeoman?
Nice lap for Jesse Love. We heard he talked to Heather DeBoe down on pit lane, and it didn't seem like his expectations were just to go out there and make sure he was turning laps. But that is a great run so far for Jesse Love as he goes P1.
Yeah, Jesse Love, I think, found out a little bit late that he actually went to the top of the scoreboard because he missed the entrance of pit road, and he's heading back up the hill. But he's going to take some slow routes around this circuit to save those Goodyear tires in case he needs to go out. We have 13 minutes left for group number 1 in practice here at Circuit of the Americas. And basically, or for qualifying rather, basically the way qualifying works, they say, here's your 20-minute window. Get your lap or laps in within that 20-minute window. There is no pre-prescribed, you go first, you go second, you make 1 lap, you make 10 laps, whatever it might be. You can go out there as much as you want. Ty Gibbs is out on the circuit right now. A lot of tire smoke coming from that number 54 Toyota as he's trying to navigate things here at Circuit of the Americas. And for Ty Gibbs, he comes back onto the pit lane. But, Nick, the Joe Gibbs racing cars have been slow here today. What does his time show?
Yeah, it goes to the top of the charts for Ty Gibbs. So just like Kyle Busch, they're trying to hustle their way through turn 19, knowing that timing line is right there as fast as possible. It was a wide swing off the racetrack, but Ty Gibbs kept it between the lines, at least where it mattered. Fast lap at a minute 38.259, so that puts him P1. Cole Custer just laid down a lap to jump to second. That bumps Jesse Love, Brad, down to the third spot.
Interesting. We talked earlier about the 10-minute window they get to make adjustments between practice and qualifying. Whatever Tyler Allen did to that number 54 Toyota of Ty Gibbs seems to have worked, because that is a huge jump for those Toyotas to go from really what was the back of the pack now to the top of the scoreboard.
Still waiting to see some heavy hitters here in group number 1. Kyle Larson has not been on the racetrack. Neither has Alex Bowman or Christopher Bell. William Byron has yet to turn a lap, as well as the driver who was fastest in practice overall. That's Michael McDowell. So we'll see if Ty Gibbs, Cole Custer, Jesse Love can stay there 1, 2, 3 throughout the course of this qualifying session. Brad, as we've gone to 11 and a half minutes to go here in Group 1.
What you have to do, you have to cross the timing line before the clock hits 0. And I can promise you they know exactly what that time is on the exit of pit road. Jesse Love had laid down the fastest lap. He's third quick and in front of Andrew Curlin.
He wants more. Jesse Love coming up the hill, hard under braking, makes the hard left-hand corner. Left side tires just missed the rumble strips in the apex of that corner. Now Love will steer right as he heads towards turn number 2 and into the S's in Doug Turnbull.
He did a cool-down lap after his first hot lap, and now he is in a hot lap again, streaking through the S's there. Jesse Love, who really buzzed his tires on that lap that was so quick before, does a little better this time at turn 6 as he gets through the gearbox down to first gear on the brakes and back on the gas again out of 6A.
Looking for a bit of pickup here on this next fast lap for Jesse Love to the exit of 6B onto the back straightaway, and now downshifting into turn number 12. That hard left-hander for Love, free and clear of traffic, nobody around him as he goes to the double rights. 13 and 14 right on that red and white rumble strip to driver's right, swings it wide now to driver's left on setup into turn number 15. Left-hand run, locks it up just a bit of tire smoke from behind that car, doesn't slow him down too much as he heads to turn 16 for Jesse Love.
A little bit of an off-camber situation here as he tries to get himself lined up off of turn number 18 and heads back to that timing line, and he'll cross it right now.
Meanwhile, Michael McDowell is on a flyer. Alex Bowman is as well. So is Riley Herbst. They're all on the front straightaway. Andrew Curlin headed to you in turn 1.
All three of them make their trek up the hill into turn number 1. McDowell carrying a lot of speed, followed by Bowman about 10 car lengths behind him. Good corners for both McDowell and Bowman as they chase each other in qualifying. Now they'll make the right-hand turn into turn number 2, back up through the gearbox into the S's.
McDowell's won a road course race in his Cup career. Now he goes left through turn 3, right through turn 4, left through 5, and up the hill for a slight right-hander at turn 6. And then it'll be a hard left-hander as he gets on the brakes and turns through turn 6A. He's about 4 car lengths in front of Alex Bowman. They're followed by Riley Herbst.
Hit his marks to perfection earlier today in practice, did Michael McDowell. So fast in that session about an hour or so ago. Passed everybody with ease through this section of the course, the stadium sections, turn 12 through 16, working 13 and 14 right now. The double right-hander for Michael McDowell. Alex Bowman a couple of lengths behind him. Then it's about 4 more car lengths to Riley Herbst. So 3 cars working through this section of the course right now, chasing Michael McDowell as he exits turn 15 and heads back toward the timing line.
Michael McDowell now pedals hard off of turn number 17 in that cat's coffee machine. Back on the throttle hard as he'll go past the timing line. Takes it out wide there, and he'll try to, he actually had to get totally out of the gas as he went really, really close to the inside line down here in turns number 19, heads down to the pit road.
He was hustled at Patton for good reason. Michael McDowell goes P1 at a minute 38.147. He's going to bring that car to pit lane. That's where we're going to go to check in with Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeVoe.
And Brad, you mentioned earlier, you're wondering what Tyler Allen did to that 54 machine of Ty Gibbs to get in that fast time. And I checked in with the team, and they said no adjustments. They were just able to get a clean track and ran a better lap. Now, remember, he had contact with Austin Cindric on lap 2 of practice, so they think that's what killed their lap times.
Great point. Thank you very much, Heather DeVoe. Michael McDowell, the fastest. Ty Gibbs, second quick. Alex Bowman, who is great at this track, third quick. Cole Custer, fourth. Jesse Love is fifth. We actually had another car jump up there as Kyle Larson now moves into third fastest. 7.5 minutes to go for Group 1 qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix.
When it comes to maintaining your engine to run at peak performance, trust ZMAX Micro Lubricant. ZMAX soaks into metal and is so easy to add to your oil or gas to disperse carbon buildup in your engine, fuel system, and transmission. Protect your vehicle's engine to the max with ZMAX. Check us out at ZMAX.com or visit us on Facebook and X to find out more about our full line of products. Remember the name ZMAX for your car, big rigs, small engines, firearms, and more. That's ZMAX Micro Lubricant.
This is PRN's Alexis Erickson, and if your life looks anything like mine, you are always on the go. So take advantage of the PRN mobile app. By downloading the mobile app, you can listen to our live race broadcast while you're on the go, making sure you don't miss a second of the action from the track. You also get station listings and on-demand access to your favorite PRN shows like Garage Pass, PRN's At the Track, and Fast Talk with Doug Rice, Brad Gilley, and myself. Get the latest racing information at your fingertips by downloading the PRN mobile app today. Available in the Apple App Store and on Google Play.
Just over 6 minutes to go for Group 1 qualifying for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. Soon we'll see Josh Berry, Christopher Bell, and William Byron making their first qualifying laps at Circuit of the Americas. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Hi,
this is Doug Rice at PRN. Join me for another great episode of Fast Talk. We have NASCAR Hall of Famer Kurt Busch. What does a much older, wiser Kurt Busch want to tell Carson Hocevar?
Well, let's bust out all the VHS tapes, and you can watch all my mistakes. Try not to do those, Carson. I like what he's doing. He's learning, and he's putting his time in up front.
That's Fast Talk right here on PRN.
When NASCAR hits Dover Motor Speedway, get ready for all-star intensity at the Monster Mile. May 15th through 17th. See the sport's biggest names battle it out. It's more than a race. Concerts, autograph sessions, tailgates, and non-stop action all weekend long. Experience NASCAR the way it's meant to be, live and in person at Dover. Get your tickets now at DoverMotorspeedway.com. That's DoverMotorspeedway.com.
William Byron is on his first flyer, Andrew Curlin, here at COTA.
William Byron up to speed, but all the way back down to speed as he climbs the hill. He'll now descend into turn number 2. It's looking like a fast lap for William Byron as he goes back up through the gearbox.
It throws you down the hill, but it can throw you off kilter in the S's, and you want to nail it, Byron does. He goes through 4, then left through 5, up the hill, and then suddenly off of the gas in turn 6 as he has a little bit of wheel spin, trying to go down through the gears and onto the brake for the hard left-hander through 6A, but he stays off the wall and keeps going.
It appears to be a fast lap early for William Byron, but how will he handle this section of the course here? The stadium section, very technical end as he gets on the brakes, makes the hard left into turn 12, then the double right-hander coming up, 13 and 14 for Byron, right around driver's left, hugging those red and white curbs to the inside and out of turn number 14, short straightaway to 15. That's a sharp left-hand turn. So far, so good for Byron as he hits the straightaway and begins to accelerate to turn 16.
Willie B now hard on the gas as he tries to pedal through this 16 and 17. Now over to turn 18. Now to the timing line. Lets it swing out wide, trying to get all he can get.
So William Byron now, as he's making his way through the circuit, goes up to third quick now overall behind Michael McDowell and Ty Gibbs. Right now, 3 Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets are in Group 1. All 3 of them are in the top 5. William Byron, third quick overall. Kyle Larson, fourth. Alex Bowman, fifth quick. Chase Elliott, we're going to see him, Nick, in group number 2.
Tell you what, the guy who may have a shot at grabbing P1, Pat Patterson, he is headed to you. That is Christopher Bell, appears to be on a good lap. He's navigating turn 13 at the moment.
Bell off of turn 13, short straightaway into 14, now 15 and 16 for Christopher Bell.
Picks up the gas here as he works his way off and by the timing line, and yes, very quick and an underrated, in my opinion, road course racer, Christopher Bell.
Brad, how about this? Michael McDowell's fast lap, 1:38.14. Christopher Bell, 1:38.20. That's 6/100ths of a second. He misses knocking Michael McDowell off the top.
Bell was hustling that car around the racetrack. You saw tires getting off the ground. You saw lockups. You saw tire smoke and a whole lot more. Pretty exciting to see what was happening with him. Austin Cindric is back on the circuit right now. He's been a fast road racer. He's headed toward you, Andrew.
Right now, slow is smooth is fast for Austin Cindric as he climbs the hill. Makes the hard left-hand corner in turn number 1. Good corner exit for Cindric. He gets a little loose as he goes down the hill. Austin Cindric now putting his right side tires on the rumble strip, heading into the S's.
He gets out of turn 2. Great now to start it. Turn 3, it's left. Right through turn 4, very smooth, off of the tire packs, right over the paint and the candy stripe there, and the rumble strips through 5 and 6, and then on the brakes again, no tire smoke, the hard left-hander at 6A, as not only Cindric's back on the track, but so is Connor Zilic.
Into 6B for Austin Cindric as he hits the back straightaway, and again, no traffic around him. He is on a flyer in the first half of the lap, has looked really smooth, has hit his marks. Let's see if he can do it here in the stadium section. Through turn 12, the left-hander, now the double rights of 13 and 14, right around to those red and white stripes for Austin Cindric. Keeps the car to driver's right, swings it to the left for Austin. Looks good as he has been able to keep that momentum up off of turn number 15, and now is hard on the accelerator to turn 16, the right-hander.
Tries to hang on to it. Car gets a little tail happy with him, trying to be Penske perfect back to the line. Hard on the gas. Here comes Cindric.
Austin Cindric now out on the circuit. He's closing out his lap here. Cindric does bump himself up into the top 10, but this is only half of the field that is out. Connor Zilic headed back up the hill, Andrew.
He uses his left foot and gravity to slow himself all the way down to a crawling 50 miles an hour for the driver of the number 88. Good exit for Connor Zilic as he goes back down the hill. Right side tires on the rumble strip for that young rookie as he heads into the S's.
The fast way through is to be tail happy through these S's, and that's Connor Zilic right now getting it all in that Red Bull Chevrolet. He turns right into turn 6, up and down the hill. Let's see if he smokes those tires. No, he doesn't. Smooth into 6A, misses the tire pack, and is down the short chute.
That blue, yellow, and red, white numeraled Red Bull Chevrolet for Connor Zilic off of 6B and onto the back straightaway. A quick back straightaway here at Circuit of the Americas, about 3 seconds before diving hard onto the brakes. Downshifting into first gear to make that left-hander of turn 12 to the double rights for Connor Zilic. So far, so good. Nearly misses that tire pack at the exit of turn 14. Keeps it inbounds and to the final left-hand turn, turn 15, at least here on the backside of the course, through the stadium section for Connor Zilic.
Here comes Connor Zilic now, holds the car over in the left-hand portion of turns number 17 and 18. Back to the stripe, lets it veer out wide. We'll see if he goes for another lap. I think he's probably going to slow it down and head to the pit road. Connor Zilic finishes his lap here at COTA.
Clock has hit double zeros. The qualifying group number 1 is finished. All the drivers on track going to be allowed to finish their final laps. Nobody's had anything for Michael McDowell right now. Minute 38.14. Kyle Larson hustling his car through the carousel. He might be one of the last takers. See Alex Bowman out of the racetrack as well. Larson right now 5th quick, Brad, as these final few cars try to find if they've got any speed.
This is one heck of a flex right now, though. If you're Michael McDowell, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, those are the top 3 out on the circuit right now. 1 lap each. Those 3 drivers only took 1 lap. Everyone else took 2 to 3 to 4 laps. So Michael McDowell the fastest, followed by Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, William Byron, Kyle Larson. They round out the top 5. Alex Bowman, Todd Gilliland, Cole Custer, Josh Berry, Connor Zilic round out the top 10. We will come back. Group number 2, qualifying, will finish the lineup for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix here at COTA.
What makes Toyota Racing Toyota Racing? It's not just how we drive, it's why we drive. Bubba Wallace drives with resilience, building himself back up with a Toyota team that never lets him stay down. Jade Evadisian drives with determination to be faster, sharper, every lap, every day. Christopher Bell drives with inspiration, because when talent meets the perfect team, you don't just win, you inspire what comes next. Toyota Racing, your race, your story. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, LLC.
Need a break? A break from the grind? The stress? We have just the place. A place where you can let your inner thrill-billy out. Bristol Motor Speedway, April 10th through the 12th for the NASCAR Food City 500 Triple Header Weekend. 3 days, 3 races, 2 night races, 1 epic weekend. Don't just take a break, race to it. Get your tickets, upgrades, and more now at BristolMotorspeedway.com. It's not just a race.
It's Bristol, baby!
Halfway through qualifying, Michael McDowell the fastest. 18 more drivers will try to knock him off the top from Circuit of the Americas. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Have you filed for disability benefits but were denied by the Social Security Administration? Or do you need to apply and are overwhelmed with paperwork? Are you between the ages of 50 and 63 and can no longer work because of an illness or injury? Thousands of hardworking Americans are in your situation. They file for disability benefits and are unnecessarily denied their much-needed benefit check. Call now for a no-obligation, free evaluation. We can help you nearly double your chances of approval and get your benefit checks faster. We understand the physical, emotional, and financial impact. We'll share our insider expertise and help you get your disability claim filed and paid immediately. There is a time limit to apply, so call right now. Operators are standing by to help you.
800-978-3903. 800-978-3903. 800-978-3903. That's 800-978-3903.
Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas as we are setting the starting grid for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. You can catch it here on the Performance Racing Network tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern Time. Michael McDowell, who was fastest in practice overall, has drawn the line in the sand at a minute 38.14. Christopher Bell took a shot. Got awful close. So did Ty Gibbs. They're second and third right now. But Brad, of course, 18 more cars going to go on the racetrack here for group number 2. Some big names, Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano. They struggled in practice. If you missed it a little bit earlier, they're going to be looking for speed, as well as some of the heavy hitters like Shane Van Gisbergen. Chase Elliott's a former winner. Tyler Reddick, the hottest driver in NASCAR. He'll be in group 2. So Michael McDowell looks good right now, but he's going to have to sweat out the next half hour here in qualifying.
Big question, Nick, and we're about to find out after 20 minutes. Is the field tugging on Superman's cape? Shane Van Gisbergen comes into Circuit of the Americas having won the last 5 consecutive road races on the Cup Series schedule. Shane Van Gisbergen, this is the only track where he has not been to victory lane. Last year, Christopher Bell was the race winner. Heather DeBow, what can you tell us about that DeWalt driver?
Well, we're here with Christopher Bell right now. And, Christopher, I heard that you were really, really loose there in your first run. It seems like you got things figured out. How is the race car now?
Yeah, I think the DeWalt Camry is pretty good. I'm really happy with how we qualified. You know, the second run in practice, I felt a lot more comfortable driving the car, but it's so hard to say where your speed stacks up because the tires are going off. And, yeah, these things they're hard to drive whenever you get out there on hot tires. So felt really nice there in qualifying. Certainly our best qualifying effort on a road course so far in a long time. So we'll see where we stack up after Group 2 here. But regardless, we're going to be ahead of where we were last year, so that's a positive.
Well, you were the defending race winner last year. In looking back at that film and just watching what you did and things maybe you can improve on, what are some things you've been working on your racecraft, not just here at this circuit, but for road course races this season?
I think if you ask that question to everyone in the garage, they're going to say the same thing, and that's just tire management. You know, Shane Van Gisbergen has really set the bar for tire management in the Cup Series since he's come over here, and you know that's where he smokes us. Whenever he gets multiple laps on tires late into a run, he's just able to continue that pace where we all start sliding around. So that's been a focus since this race last year or shortly there. So, yeah, trying to keep longevity in the car, keep the tires underneath of it, and hopefully keep up with that 88 or 97, whatever number he is.
And I find that interesting because you're a dirt racer, so managing tires should be good for you. So what have you learned that you can apply also in the dirt and out here?
Well, I'm a dirt racer, so I like sliding around, but unfortunately that doesn't really do well for the tires. So I think, you know, the dirt racer's strength is that we can slide the car around a lot. So if everyone's sliding around a lot, it's a positive. But Shane has a knack for just keeping the car underneath of him. So we're all sliding and he's not sliding, and it's allowing him to really beat us bad on these road courses. So trying to close that gap.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time, Christopher. Good insight there from him. We'll see if we can hold on to that second position as they send out Group 2 here in qualifying.
Thank you very much, Heather. We appreciate that. Coming up in today's Focused Health 250 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race, we will have 2 more Napa Auto Parts pit reporters joining Heather DeBow. That will be Wendy Venturini and Brett McMillan. Performance Racing Network live coverage starts at 2:30 Eastern Time. At the conclusion of qualifying here today, just keep it on these same great stations covering qualifying here at Circuit of the Americas, because the NASCAR Racing Network is covering the action in St. Petersburg, Florida. We've got Mike Bagley and Todd Gordon in the booth. Really, with the NASCAR Racing Network today, it is a combined group of broadcasters, Nick, from the Motor Racing Network and the IndyCar Radio Network.
Yeah, I think my good friend Michael Young's going to be out in the turns helping call that race as well. So looking forward to tuning in and listening. And you're right. I mean, you can keep it locked in all day long as we go straight from Cup practice and qualifying right into the truck race, and then certainly right into the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Focus Health 250 later today, where Connor Zilich and Shane Van Gisbergen will lead them to the green flag.
I'm just impressed you called Michael Young your good friend. And
Yeah,
that you were
well,
willing to claim that.
Don't tell him I said that.
We won't. He'll be joining us here later this year as well. Brad Keselowski, broken leg on the mend and all, is in his number 6 car, and Brad Keselowski will shortly be hitting that timing line and getting on a hot lap. Let's pick him up on the circuit.
He is the only car on the circuit right now for Brad Keselowski, making his way through the stadium section, going through the left-hander now of turn 15, and now trying to come up to speed a little late on the gas onto the straightaway and into the right-hander as he approaches the timing line.
Here comes Keselowski once again working his way through 17, headed over to 18. Going to go past the timing line and get on a hot lap. Gets on the throttle, down into turn 19. Lets the car go right out there next to the tire pack, then veer way out to get a good arc into turn number 20. Here comes Brad K now, getting the car pointed, and he'll head straight by the start-finish line.
And as Kyle Rickey said, the only car on the racetrack. All eyes, Andrew Kurland, on Brad Keselowski in turn 1.
Brad Keselowski has COTA as his own personal playground as he woes his car all the way down. Misses the apex in turn number 1. He's going to have to make some more speed up in turn number 2. He goes back up through the gearbox into the S's.
The S's aren't a good passing zone, but they're a good place to make or lose time. And he gets through turn 3, okay. Conservative, though, through the S of 4 and through 5. Stays way off of the tire packs. As he goes up and down the hill through turn 6, he slows kind of late for turn 6A and makes a pretty aggressive exit there as he almost hits the wall on the short chute.
A bright green Graza Ford for Brad Keselowski. Onto the back straightaway now and under braking the left-hander, turn number 12 for Brad. Again, still the only car on the track right now here in the stadium section. Sets that car up for the double right-hander. 13 and 14 for Keselowski. Swings it wide off to driver's left at the exit of that corner, and that's a perfect approach to the left-hander of turn number 15 for Brad Keselowski. Over the red and white curbing, back up the speed and up through the gears into turn 16.
Really on that rev limiter quite a bit through all those corners in the Stadium Series. Powers down, hard down, trying to head past to the timing line, and he does that.
Goes way off the circuit to try and make the most out of that lap, Nick.
Yeah, that's almost a mirror image of what happened to Kyle Busch in group number 1. You go wide, those race cars, it becomes like the Dukes of Hazzard. You go flying through the air. Brad got it woed down and now brought that car back to pit lane, but that is wild how they hustle those cars out of that carousel. So they're already on edge, and Brad, they swing it so wide through the paint. Man, oh man, Brad Keselowski hanging on for dear life.
Well, if you're headed toward turn 19, you're going downhill between 18 and 19. It's a short chute. 19 is a left-hander. That timing line that Pat Patterson keeps talking about is right in between the two corners. You don't have to make turn 19. So you can gas it as hard as you can, and however far you overshoot turn 19, it's not going to impact your lap time because you've already completed that lap.
I'm going to state the obvious. You don't want to do that during the race.
No, you don't.
That's for
Exit of turn number 2. Let's see how he does through the S's here. Is he trying to make up time? He doesn't overdo it as he's wiggling the back of that race car, the number 4 Rush Travel Shitters Ford, as he gets down into turn 6A there, trying to make up for lost time there, but it's hard to do all in one spot.
But plenty of places to make up some of that lost time for Noah Gregson. Although he missed turn 1, he has the entire lap to try to make some of that up, including here at the stadium section, turn 12. That left-hander looks good upon entry and exit, swings wide to driver's right. Now into the right-hander of turns 13 and 14. Kind of a double apex corner for Noah Gregson. Then all by himself on the racetrack, about a foot and a half away from that tire pack that was put into place last night. Now the left-hander at turn 15 for Noah Gregson. Stabs the throttle up through the gears and accelerates that car into the right-hander at turn 16 for Noah.
As he heads to 17, we know it's kind of off camber here. Pedals the car, pedals it a little bit more. Through 18 now, tries to get it pointed to get past that timing line. Gregson goes down and works his way through turns number 19. We'll see if he tries another lap or if he's coming to the pit lane. He'll come to the pit lane.
All right, thank you very much, Pat. We appreciate that. We didn't see the same land rush here for group number 2 that we had in group number 1. Now we've got a handful of cars out on the racetrack, including Joey Logano in the Shell Pennzoil colors. Kyle?
In turn number 12 right now, that left-hander for Joey Logano. Looks good here into turn number 13. The right-hander over the candy cane curbing and slipped up wide just a bit for turn number 14. Doesn't look like it slowed him down a whole lot. Now into 15 he goes, the left-hander, and up through the throttle and through the gears he goes for Joey Logano into the right-hander of turn number 16 and around the tower.
Here comes Logano in that number 22 Ford as he works his way now through 18 and the timing line. Back to the stripe here. We'll see if he's going to go any further. No, he lets that car go way out, and he's finished his hot lap.
All right, Joey Logano goes up to 9th quick. Just about 100 miles, 200 miles down Highway 290. That's what connects Austin to Houston, Texas. The Shell Technology Center. I've had the opportunity to tour that. The oil for the race cars used with Team Penske is actually refined right there at the Shell Technology Center. That's where all of the advanced degree scientists actually make the oils and the gasoline mixtures and all of that. Pretty impressive. Kind of a nice little Texas connection, Nick.
Those are the smart guys, much smarter than you and I. How about Chase Elliott? He's a former winner, headed up the hill to turn number 1.
He woes his Napa Chevrolet all the way down to a crawling 50 miles an hour. Chase Elliott solid over turn number 1. He'll work his way down the hill towards turn number 2. He swings his Napa Chevrolet wide and now arcs it into turn number 2 into the S's.
He was top 15 in practice there. Does wiggle out of turn 2, but it sets him up okay for turn 3. He gets almost all tires in the paint through the S's in 4 and 5, and then up and down the hill in turn number 6. Chase Elliott, sounds like the car backfires when he downshifts there. Gets very smoothly through that hard left-hander in 6A.
Blue and white Napa Chevrolet for Chase Elliott. Hits the back straightaway out of 6P. Comes to speed, but only for about 3 seconds. Hard on the brakes, down into first gear, into the left-hander of turn number 12 for Chase Elliott. Again, nobody around him on the racetrack as the track comes to life a little bit more in the second half of this session. Chase Briscoe now into the stadium section, along with a couple of other cars from 2311 Racing as well. But keeping our eye on Chase Elliott through turn 15, up to speed into the right-hander of turn 16 for Chase.
We used to call driver number 9 the king of the road because he could get it done out here on the road. Right now, works his way through 17, 18. He'll swing it out wide there to get his posted lap.
He's got a chance, and he'll go to the top of the charts. Chase Elliott on a minute 38 flat, but how long will he keep P1? How about just a few seconds, because Tyler Reddick blitzes across the line, and he'll jump to the top of the charts by nearly 0.3 of a second. Tyler Reddick at a minute 37.760. He is a 2-time pole sitter here at COTA, and he has reset the fastest lap here in qualifying.
Dick, his teammate Bubba Wallace was following him, and Bubba Wallace, that last corner, just blew way wide. Tyler Reddick, the fastest right now. Bubba Wallace, 18th. That's the difference in their 2 laps. And for Tyler Reddick, his first win with 2311 Racing happened right here at Circuit of the Americas. An average finish of 3.0 is just insane since he's been with that organization. We've got Denny Hamlin now working his way up toward Andrew Curlin in turn 1.
He'll make the hike up towards turn number 1. Right side tires on the rumble strips as he gets loose. Completely blows turn number 1. You could see he was wiggling his Toyota, just missed his marks. This looks like it might be an off lap for Denny Hamlin. He's slowing down.
He is. I think he's going to do that to save his tires there. But I don't know. He's coming back up to speed here as he gets through turn 3 and then slows it down through turn 4. So, yeah, I think, guys, Denny Hamlin is cooling it down here. Is going to give it a stab another time.
How about a good lap from Chase Briscoe? Took a shot at Tyler Reddick, hustled it through across the timing line in front of Pat Patterson, and goes second quick. So Toyota's 1-2 as Briscoe pops to second quick at a minute 37.91 for the driver from Mitchell, Indiana.
Nick, in practice earlier here today, it was a much cooler track for Group 1. They took that to their advantage. They were the fastest cars. Now we wondered, with the Texas sun out, would Group 1 and Group 2 equalize? It seems like they have. We've got 7.5 minutes to go for Group number 2. Tyler Reddick is the fastest overall, followed by Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, Michael McDowell, and A.J. Allmendinger, your top 5.
Make your plans now to stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa when NASCAR returns to Las Vegas. They have great race ticket and room packages for you to choose from. The South Point also features a wide variety of excellent dining options at 11 different restaurants. Or you can enjoy the 16-screen movie complex and visit the 64-lane bowling center. Visit SouthPointCasino.com and make your reservations today. Stay where the racers stay at the South Point Hotel Casino and Spa.
This is Kyle Petty for Echo Park Automotive, and I'm here to tell you why you should shop Echo Park before you buy a car, truck, or SUV. Over half of inventory at Echo Park is priced below $25,000, and car for car, truck for truck. Echo Park Automotive's pricing is $3,000 less than the competition. Maybe that's why Echo Park has over 100,000 five-star reviews. Echo Park Automotive is built to make sure you drive away happy. It's even in their name, Echo Park Automotive. Every car, happy owner, the official used car retailer of Speedway Motorsports.
On his second lap out, Denny Hamlin did indeed make it clean. This is PRN, the Performance Racing Network.
Here's Christopher Bell.
My Toyota Camry TRD race car isn't cheap to build and prepare. I have a pit crew that maintains and fixes my equipment. I have a spotter high above the track watching my back, talking me through turns and potential dangers on the track. I physically train to handle the stress of driving. And I have software helping my crew chief and engineers make the right strategy calls. And with all this, I never take my eyes off the road, and neither should you. One distraction can change everything in one instant.
Hi, I'm David Stiles of PRN, and I know the news cycle is very fast-paced, and we're here to bring you
extremely happy and proud to be holding this trophy. Obviously,
the latest news from the racetrack, the biggest storylines in the garage, and our opinions about the sport. You can hear all of it on PRN's Garage Pass.
America's a lot of cars on the track right now. Carson Hocevar is making his way through. Ryan Preece is actually on a hot lap right now. Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, Michael McDowell, A.J. Allmendinger still the fastest. Let's pick up Preece, Andrew.
Yeah, Ryan Preece, who had a pretty big moment in practice looking to have a fast qualifying lap. He gets through turn number 1 and swings his Ford all the way into turn number 2. Right side tires on the rumble strips.
Green and white colors on that number 60 RFK machine. And Preece was the second or third slowest in that opening practice, too, there. He rumbles through the S's here, gets up and down the hill. Let's see if he can maintain car control through the hard left-hander at 6A. No tire smoke. Nearly hits the tire pack, though, Kyle Rickey, as he comes to you.
The Castrol Ford for Ryan Preece swings wide onto the back straightaway. Out of 6P comes the speed, but very briefly before jumping on the brakes and downshifting into turn number 12 for Preece, who has a little bit of traffic in front of him. It should not affect this hot lap for Preece, who makes the right-handers turn 13 and 14, and then that short straightaway to turn 15, the left-hander, as he makes his way back toward the tower and back to the timing line for Ryan Preece. So far, so good for Preece, who swings wide. Looks like a fast lap, Pat.
Tries to stay in the gas as best he can. Pedals it just a little bit here off of the corner. Sets up to aim it at the timing line. He does that, goes way out wide. We'll see if it was fast or not for the driver of number 60.
Trackhouse teammates Shane Van Gisbergen and Ross Chastain navigating the S's, Doug Turnbull.
And they're a lot further apart than when they started this lap session here, as Shane Van Gisbergen goes right through turn 6A very smoothly, and then 2 seconds behind him or so, Ross Chastain does the same as they come through 6B.
What was just a couple of car lengths a lap or so ago between Shane Van Gisbergen and Ross Chastain has since changed to about 10 or 12 car lengths between them. Van Gisbergen tiptoeing away from his Trackhouse teammate in Ross Chastain as they make their way through the stadium area now, already through turn 14. In fact, they're making the right-handers 13 and 14 as we speak. Now the left-hander of turn 15. This is where Chastain has been able to gain a couple of car lengths on entry, loses that same amount of ground at the exit of the corners as Shane Van Gisbergen drives away.
No matter where he qualifies, he'll be a rabbit tomorrow afternoon. Here's Van Gisbergen, gets it pointed right at the start-finish line.
Shane Van Gisbergen across the timing line. He goes not even cracking the top 10, but how about his teammate Ross Chastain hustles across the timing line. Brad, he goes P2 at a minute 37.987. In fact, Shane Van Gisbergen going to stay on the racetrack. Most recently, he was 20th quick. So, Andrew, Shane Van Gisbergen is going to give it another go with 2 minutes to go.
SVG not happy with this lap. Let's see if he can do any better. Woes it down to first gear. Solid exit off of turn number 1 as he swings out wide and now cuts into turn number 2. SVG trying to make up ground here in qualifying.
He was on the paint and entry. He exits wide, and then he is flying through the S's here. All 4 tires sliding between turns 4 and 5, and then he's up and down the hill of turn 6. The tire's almost off the ground there. See, as he downshifts into 6A, takes it very smoothly but very aggressively at the same time.
A little bit more aggressive for Shane Van Gisbergen on this second hot lap, as there are several cars pulling off to driver's left, allowing him to make the move around. Those drivers coming up to speed to begin a hot lap this time around. Shane Van Gisbergen through turn 12, now 13 and 14. Joey Logano about 15 or so lengths in front of Van Gisbergen, who barely misses that tire pack at the exit of turn 14. Now the left-hander of turn 15 for Shane Van Gisbergen. A little bit more smooth, a little bit more aggressive, this time through the stadium section.
Well, who knows? Maybe he just wanted to get those tires hot. We'll see if this is a faster lap. Here comes SVG, hard on the gas, back to the timing line.
So Shane Van Gisbergen now, after making his third lap, he is going to jump up just slightly, still outside of the top 10. He is 13th quick. Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott are your top 5. 30 seconds to go until qualifying is cut off, Nick. You got to cross that timing line before the clock runs to 0.
Yep, Michael McDowell, 6th fastest. A.J. Allmendinger in this group. He is 7th fastest. 8th, Christopher Bell. 9th, Ty Gibbs. And then 10th, William Byron, as you mentioned, getting down to the final moments of qualifying. We didn't really see anybody in Group 1 go significantly faster in the last couple minutes. We'll see, Brad, as the track has gotten quite busy. Looks like at least a dozen cars out of the racetrack as qualifying has officially come to an end.
23-11 still out on the racetrack. Doug Turnbull, they're headed your way.
They are coming out of turn number 2 right now. They're led by Tyler Reddick in the 45 machine, who was quick earlier, but he wants more. He's down the hill through 4, slides into 5 with the left-hand side. Then it's a right-hander at turn 6. About 5 car lengths back to teammate Bubba Wallace as they trail into 6A. Neither of them making any contact with the tire pack or the wall.
Here comes Tyler Reddick to the exit of 6B and onto the back straightaway. Bubba Wallace a couple of car lengths behind him, just ahead of them, the Colleague Racing entries, A.J. Allmendinger, also Ty Dillon. They make their way through the stadium section. Joey Logano among them as well. But keeping an eye on those 2311 teammates now through turns number 13 and 14, the two right-handers. Bubba Wallace in front now of Tyler Reddick. Reddick about 5 or so car lengths behind them as this qualifying session begins to wind down. Carson Hocevar also among this pack of traffic as they hit turn number 16.
Here's Bubba Wallace now. He got out in front of his teammate as they gave him that position back there coming down the back stretch. Wallace hard on the gas trying to get a good lap in for his car.
So Bubba Wallace now coming back around. Tyler Reddick could give up that lap because he's already the fastest, Nick. It's almost like they sent him out there with Bubba, who, look, we used to talk about Bubba Wallace and could he finish better than 30th on a road course. Now he is a true contender on a road course. But if you got the fastest car out there, you might as well send him back out there with the teammate to see what they can do to get a faster lap out of him.
Looks like the track is clean of race cars, and that will mean that Tyler Reddick is going to lead the field to the green flag once again, getting it done at a minute 37.760. He's going to be your pole sitter for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas. Ross Chastain, former winner here, is going to join him on the front row for a very entertaining qualifying session, Brad.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the Performance Racing Network. Welcome back to Circuit of the Americas. Qualifying is concluded for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix. We'll be talking with pole sitter Tyler Reddick here momentarily. Ross Chastain will join him on the front row. Chase Briscoe will start third. Fourth will be Ryan Blaney. Fifth, Chase Elliott. Michael McDowell sixth. A.J. Allmendinger starts seventh. Eighth will be Christopher Bell. Ty Gibbs will start ninth. William Byron 10th.
Zane Smith's had a nice start to the season so far. He'll start 11th on Sunday. Carson Hocevar as well will start to his outside in 12th. Shane Van Gisbergen's got a little bit of work to do. He's going to start 13th on Sunday alongside Chris Buescher in 14th. A pair of Hendrick teammates in 15th and 16th. That's Kyle Larson and Alex Bowman. Todd Gilliland qualifies 17th. Cole Custer 18th. Denny Hamlin qualifies 19th. Joey Logano ends up 20th.
Let's go down to pit road and check in with Napa Auto Parts pit reporter Heather DeBow.
And here with Ross Chastain, who's going to be on the outside front row of the race tomorrow. Your road course program here at Trackhouse has been pretty good. Did you think you would be the best out of your three teammates today?
Absolutely not. No, not a chance. For our Busch Light Chevy, it's all about learning from my teammates. And as we stepped through practice there, I followed Shane out in practice. I followed him out in qualifying. As we talked through our changes going into qualifying after practice, Brandon McSwain, new crew chief, is asking me, and I'm like pointing over to the 97 box, like, do what they do. I'll give you my opinion, but I don't think that I should lead us down the path for what to do. So, yeah, definitely great execution by this one team. It's a whole body of work for all three teams, and Steven leads the charge on the road course stuff, and it definitely paid off today.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you very much, Heather. She's going to go over and chat with Tyler Reddick. We'll give you the rest of the rundown and get you to Truck Series racing, which is happening in St. Petersburg, Florida, with the NASCAR Racing Network. A lot of excitement here today at Circuit of the Americas. Tyler Reddick wins the opening two races of the season, and now we'll start on the pole. Heather DeBow.
And Tyler Reddick is now a three-time pole sitter here at Circuit of the Americas. Debriefing here with his crew chief, Billy Scott. They're looking at the times and looking at who's on top of the board. And, of course, it's been a breakout season start here for 2311. Tyler Reddick obviously winning the first two races, and here you are on the pole. Tell us about your race car. You're pretty fast out there. Do you think you can get another win come tomorrow?
I mean, that's our plan. We got a lot of work to do still, obviously, but it's great that, we were able to have the practice go like it did for a Trump Casino Toyota Camry. Just really happy with it on the long run. And there, obviously, didn't have the fire-off lap in practice, but I don't know. It's just I got a good feel in these Gen 7 cars. Good trust, good idea what we need to do when it gets to qualifying. So we've just been able to do that more times than not over the last couple of years, which has been nice. And, the pressure was kind of on today. I mean, the track really picked up throughout practice, and it was very obvious really only going to get one really good shot at qualifying. So I just had to nail it the first lap.
And you told your team, we know what we need to do tomorrow. There's a lot to think about. You got chaos going into turn one, track limits. just the other competitors out here on the track. So what is going to be your strategy to stay out front, along with that pressure of trying to get 3 wins and being the first ever driver to do that?
Yeah, I mean, Ross, SVG. Honestly, Blaney was really strong. There's a number of players there that were really strong in practice. We just got to keep up with the racetrack, keep up with our car. The track position we have is a nice little start there, but certainly, Shane could start 40th, and I think he could find his way to the front and still have a shot at win. So we just got to keep up with it, stay hungry all day if we want to win the race tomorrow.
All right, that's Tyler Reddick, who will be on defense as he leads the field to green for tomorrow's Cup race here at Circuit of the Americas.
Congratulations to Tyler Reddick. And tomorrow we're going to be on the air 2:30 Eastern Time for the Duramax Texas Grand Prix from Circuit of the Americas. Coming up later today, 2:30 Eastern Time, the Focused Hell 250, where Connor Zilic and Shane Van Gisbergen will lead the field to the green flag. Want to say a great thanks to our broadcast crew up in the turns, Andrew Curlin, Pat Patterson, Doug Turnbull, and Kyle Rickey. Heather DeBoe, our Napa Auto Parts Pit reporter today. Our engineers, Harold Hamrick, Ben Blevins, and Bill Parrott. Our director, Laura Beth Barnhart. Production is Kent Bernhardt. Sales and marketing, Barry Roach, David Stiles, Hank Lee, and Alexis Erickson. The Senior Vice President and General Manager of the Performance Racing Network, Jerry Horn. For Nick Yeoman, my name is Brad Gilley. That puts the wraps on qualifying at Circuit of the Americas. Truck Series racing happening in St. Petersburg, Florida. A lot of action with racing all day long with NASCAR. Thank you so much for tuning in.